Boom. Hey, folks. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, everyone is having a lovely Thursday, as I have to check. Um, so, today was a more packed day. Yesterday in the Uvalde trial, basically everything was like half an hour of court time because they were dealing with the whole question of lack of disclosure, and the defense had asked for a mistrial. And so the judge had said, I am not giving you the mistrial defense. You don't get the mistrial. However, I will give the remedy of excluding this witness. Now, defense and the prosecution had apparently agreed that there was going to be they had apparently agreed that they were mutually on board with essentially the defense getting to cross-examine the this witness and essentially try to sort of undermine their credibility in case the jury had come to conclusions, and then get the exclusion of the witness. So keep in mind that that's what's happened last time. Keep that in mind, because then we're going to go and watch what they actually do, because the prosecution is being a little bit weaselly. Now, I am going to try an experiment. Previously, I had goals set for super chats. Somebody suggested, and it's kind of something I'd been thinking as well, that the goals might actually suppress people from super chatting rather than like encouraging them. So we're going to try going without the goals and go back to that. So we'll see. We will see what's going on and what's what the deal is there. I see a question here that as a defense attorney, is there any type of case you would turn down? I mean, I do turn down cases sometimes, but usually it's like I'm too busy is usually the reason. There you gotta consider what it is you're willing to do, but defense attorney stuff is is a whole thing. I see you can't super chat unless you turn off your VPN. I refuse to do that. I don't want them to grab my location. I find it very slimy of YouTube. You might be able to still super chat with a VPN so long as the VPN is set to a similar area that you're from. So, yeah. Okay, so let's dive in here. A lot of the witnesses today are what I would call sad witnesses. And what I mean by that is that the purpose for them testifying is to make you sad. And now they've got a couple of witnesses who are literally just there to be like to engender sympathy, essentially. So they're teachers who were present and who were, quite frankly, more heroic than the police officers were, which is kind of a thing there, right? So yeah. All right, and it's a bit of a slow start, but I see Peter is also running a video right now, so that probably explains part of that. But all right, let's dive in here, and we'll go. Just FYI, YouTube is throwing a ton of ads on your videos on demand, like every 5 to 7 minutes. Ooh, I can't do a whole lot with that because YouTube is removed a lot of the controls we have over that, but I'll try to see if there's something I can do to hammer it down. So, all right, let's sort of dive in here. Oh, and I got to turn up the volume on this so that we'll all be able to hear. And okay. And I got to share the screen because sharing the screen is going to be necessary for that. Juggling all the buttons. I got too many buttons. Okay, here we go. And boop. And boop. There we go. All right.
Ma'am, could you come on up, please? Have a seat back in the witness stand. I appreciate it. Good morning.
YouTube does dumb stuff sometimes.
Is that your screen?
Yeah, YouTube Premium is helpful for that. Okay.
Every one of them there has agreed that we could.
Object to being outside the record.
We've passed through trauma, we've gone through
Well,
yesterday, the jury left the room, and then now they're back today, and so I kind of want to go through a few things. I think the first thing I want to talk about, though, is just you weren't there when we picked the jury, but we asked them if they gave us permission to ask tough questions of witnesses that are like you, have gone through trauma, have gone through tragedy. And so I just want you to know that we've asked them if we could do that, and every one of them there has agreed that we could.
Object to being outside the record, not proper for this witness to respond to.
Well, it's just that I'm about to go into some difficult stuff.
Okay, well, go ahead and ask a question, then I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead, proceed.
Yes, Your Honor.
so the what he's basically saying is when the witness gets up on the stand, I would like, if I could, please, Judge, I would very much like to, I would very much like to be able to like cushion what I'm doing and to, to soften it by essentially going and, and saying, okay, and empathizing with the witness a bit. And you'll see him do this. And the prosecution is like, well, I don't want that. I don't want the jury to see that the defense lawyers are human beings. It's like, okay. And the judge is like, okay, ask your question. He'll object and I'll overrule it. So go ahead. All right.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Ms. Hale, you and I have gone through that statement that you made to the ranger, and we talked about that, and I played it for you the last time that we were here together.
Yes.
Okay. And so, Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to play the statement that.
All right, you may proceed.
And Ms. Hale, just to center it, this was a statement that was taken 4 days later when you were being interviewed by the ranger about your experience and what happened that day at Robb Elementary. Is that right?
Yes.
.58 p.m. on Saturday, May 28, 2022. This is Texas Ranger Josh Wilkinson. I'm here with Special Agent of the FBI, Sean Curtis, and we're here today interviewing Ms. Zook. You correct your Zook. I'm sorry, Ms. Zook. It's now Hell or it was Hell?
No, it's now Hell.
Now Hell. Okay, so Mrs. Hell. And so what I'll do, ma'am, and your first name is Stephanie, correct?
Yes.
And it's Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay. Hell. And your date of birth now?
5693.
No, you're fine. All right. And what's a good contact number for you, ma'am?
830-688-6856.
6. All right. All right. So as I discussed just a moment ago, I'm just going to have you kind of walk us through from start to finish, what you remember.
Okay. I put myself from the fourth grade building at the library. I was before that, I guess I was in room, I think it's 130.
I'm sorry, the audio sucks really badly. So I'm sorry.
With an interventionist. We were going through her manipulatives since she's retiring. So I was a little late picking up my kids, but the librarian had them outside because I'm usually very early. So I walked.
Yeah, so the judge has apparently directed that their faces not be shown, the faces of the witnesses, but they really need to pick a better camera angle than what they're doing, because what they're doing here is, and I don't know why they aired her phone number. I should have bleeped that out if I'd remembered that was how this begins. But what they've been doing is they're broadcasting like a chest shot. And I don't get super upset when it's like a chest shot of some guy, but I feel like it's kind of creep ass when they're doing it with women. And so what are they going to do if they get somebody who's there with cleavage? And are they just going to zoom right in? Come on, guys. No, this is not good. This is not appropriate. So yeah. And the other thing is that you can almost see faces as they zoom in. So just show the seal, show the defense lawyer, show anything other than this. Yeah.
Out around, I'm going to say 11:26 or 27.
Okay.
With my students. And we
All right.
headed to the
We don't really need to see boob cam, so yeah.
playground, with playground B is what we call it. As we were walking over there, I heard a loud boom, what sounded like a dumpster truck picking up trash. And so I get there very early, so I know that they do that in the morning. I thought that was strange. Looked around, couldn't see anything. We get to the playground
and closed captioning is unavailable, unfortunately. So yeah.
And I had just gotten to the little bench where I watch my students, and I heard two sound like fireworks. And I again looked around. I was like, "That's weird." There was a coach leaving to, I guess, have lunch, and I saw him turn around as well. And he has the campus radios, and I guess he heard something over the radio because I saw him pick it up, and then he just started running towards the gate. At that time, I knew something was wrong, so I told my students, run, let's go, let's go. We were pretty far from our classroom, so we went into a second grade classroom where I was in there. Ms. Wally ended up in there, and I don't know the other teacher's name off the top of my head since we just integrated campuses. But we were in the first room on wing D, closest to the playground.
Is that room 9?
No.
Okay.
Do I have a map?
Yeah, that's fine.
We were in Ms. Rodriguez's room, so room 19.
19. Okay.
That's where we ended up, me, Ms. Rodriguez, and Ms. Wally.
There's no point to showing her because they just show her chest. That's it.
I ended up with 4 of my students in there with me. And the rest of them were in other classrooms here on the swing as well. Once we got in there, we secured the room. Her kids were watching the movie. They paused it. They got under the desk. My kids huddled in the back behind one of her circle tables. The students kind of didn't take it seriously. I mean, they did, but they didn't because we've had so many bailouts lately that they thought, oh, here we go again. It's just another bailout.
I am surprised at just how much of a role the bailouts have been taking during this, because I look at that and I'm like, this is a super risky kind of thing, because I look at this and I go, wow, you've got the bailouts, and it is a potentially landminey kind of topic, because the bailouts is related to like undocumented people. They're like, we get people who are coming in here and they're undocumented, and when they, they have some issue, they all run and they go like, and I'm like, this could be potentially inflammatory for some sort of juror, because a juror could be watching this and could be going, like, hey, maybe, the immigration and so forth things are very much a hot button issue right now in the US. And so I think it's a risky topic. The other thing that I'll note, and this is just for the some people have asked, like, why is this guy getting targeted? I don't really know why this guy is the guy who is the first guy going to trial on this one. Because like, this guy's the first guy going to trial, and I'm like, why isn't it like Officer Hand Sanitizer? Why isn't it like the guy who was in charge when 374 officers were sitting there twiddling their dingle outside of this classroom? Why isn't it any of the any of those people? Why is it instead this guy? Because this guy, I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't, cowardice going on, because absolutely feels like some serious cowardice here. But his role in the cowardice is less. His role because he is a school resource officer, but he's not the school resource officer for this school, right? He's a school resource officer for a completely different school, who comes running out to deal with this. And sure, he doesn't shoot at the shooter, which, he should have. But they seem like they have a weaker case against this guy than they do against some of the other people, right? So I don't know. I don't know. And one theory that keeps getting raised in the chat, and I hope it's not the reason, but they go, well, this guy looks kind of Hispanic. He's got a Gonzales name. Is he being charged because he's Gonzales and not like Smith? I hope that's not the reason, but I'm trying to find the reason, right? So, yeah. What is it? He was first on scene, therefore the incident commander of the scene until a higher ranked officer gets on scene and establishes command. I mean, nobody was really running things. Nobody was really controlling things at all. So, yeah.
Didn't receive the alert through Raptor system until I was already in the classroom and secured.
Okay.
So if I would have waited until we got a Raptor system alert, we would have been outside like the whole, pretty much for a while. So we were in the classroom and I got a text message saying that, because my husband works with the volunteer fire department here and he has a radio. So he said, don't go outside, there's something serious happening. But he wouldn't tell me what. And then a few minutes later, he said, there's a active shooter. Don't go outside, don't open the door to anybody, those sort of things.
And so you learned of the active shooter situation from your husband then? Okay. And what's his name?
Tristan Hale. And then at that time, I was like, hey, I just told the teachers, like, hey, there's somebody on the campus with a gun.
All right, we're going to jump ahead a little bit in this cross, because she gets crossed for a while, and not a lot of it is super important. It's really the end of it that I want to cover most.
You also said that this person, I'm just trying to show you this map. And you said that this person that you saw was on the south side area, I guess on the sidewalk next to the south entrance.
Closer to the parking lot.
Closer to here.
Mhm.
Okay. And but I guess you would agree that he was person that you saw, you told Mr. Turner he was completely on the south side,
I'm sorry.
on that south side.
Yes, and I was pointing with the pointer.
Right. And just so I can be clear, I mean, this is the south side here, and you were pointing at this.
Yes.
The woman that you can see on screen is the clerk, not the witness.
area.
Miss Hal, can you scoot in?
How the hell is the mic getting a perfect sound of the marker squeaking on the whiteboard, and yet the sound from the humans talking is like, it sounds like they're speaking through a bottle of vodka, like tilted back. So, and no, this is not the witness who's on the screen. This is the clerk. But like the squeak of the markers, which just, it's one of those sounds that just makes me like, it kind of feels like I'm being stabbed with a knitting needle, like right in between where my upper and lower jaw meet. That's the kind of feel that the screechy marker gives me. Yeah, that, yeah. And yes, Runkle, that was the tape of the Rangers interview. I know. Ultimately, this is not super important. We're covering some of this, but yeah. All right, we don't need to hear while he's writing.
And you also told Mr. Turner that when you were on the playground, there was like dust that was kicking up, that you put 2 and 2 together and realized you were being shot at.
Correct.
Okay. And then I think Mr. Turner at that point said, so if anybody were to say that there was no evidence that you were being shot at, or the shots were coming in your direction on the playground, they would be wrong, and you agreed with him on that. You remember that? I object.
I do remember answering yes, but I mean, that's not my job to prove it.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand. And
That's not my job to prove it. No, it's your job to answer the question. Like, just answer yes, answer no. Like, don't think, you're a witness. Don't think about, any of that. Yeah. It's not your concern here.
And really what I'm doing is I need to go back through what we talked about before we talk about your statement to the Ranger.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Stop writing on that thing.
Okay, so when we heard that statement, we talked about the fact that it was, and I can back up and go sit down.
By the way, I really like this lawyer.
You would agree with me.
I really like the defense team. I have yet to see anybody on the defense team really pissing me off, which I can't say for the prosecution. So
In that statement that you gave to the Ranger 4 days later, 4 days after this happened, you made no mention of anybody dressed in black carrying a rifle or with long hair. You agree with that?
Correct.
And you agree that you also didn't say anything about clouds of dirt being kicked up on the playground.
Yes.
And since you didn't say anything about a person in black, you didn't say anything about seeing him on that south side of the building to the Ranger.
Yes.
Now, those would all be important details. You agree?
Yes.
And I think when hearing the Ranger as he interviewed you, you were given multiple opportunities to say whatever you knew or whatever you remembered about what happened, and honestly, the traumatic, tragic thing that happened to you 4 days before. You were given the opportunity to say anything that you heard.
Yes.
And then I want to talk in particular, when you came to the playground with your kids, you had 4 kids at the time, and I think you said total to the Ranger that you went to the playground with 10 students.
Yes.
So how many students did you have total normally?
About 22.
About 22. And I think we talked about that. So I think the day before yesterday, you said that you thought you had 12 and 10 had gone home, but it seems like you had 10 and 12 had gone.
I said it was about 10 to 12.
Sure. And which is fine. I mean, that's That's not the same kind of detail as seeing a person with a gun. You would agree with that?
Correct.
Okay. So, but regardless, it seems like more than half of your students left after the awards ceremony.
Yes.
Or perhaps, and I don't know, because maybe you remember or not, that perhaps they didn't come at all to school that day because they were sick or on vacation, something else was going on.
Possibly.
Possibly. And I would expect you to remember the attendance, of all the students and who was there originally in the morning and things like that. But one of the things you told the ranger when you got into the room.
So when I was a kid, I had a rock tumbler. And a rock tumbler is this little machine that is basically like a hollow container that you put in a little thing and it turns over and over and over again with rocks in it and abrasive material such that it will polish the rocks up. And so it turns rocks from looking like garbage to being shiny, polished rocks. And but they're loud. They take like hours and hours and hours of like grinding and noises. And anyway, the reason why I bring this up is because it sounds like the audio is being recorded from a microphone that is in a rock tumbler. And I don't know why they're making that choice, but yeah.
In the playground, you get in the room that you had second graders, right?
Yes. I went into a second grade classroom.
Got it. And your kids, I'm sorry, I just forgot, your kids, were they in third grade?
Third grade, yes.
All right. Because one of the things you said, you specifically talked about the second graders. And you said the second graders, they weren't taking it seriously. And the word you used was, here we go again, it's just another bailout. You remember saying that?
Yes, I remember referencing the bailout.
Yes. And so could you tell us, because I guess that phenomenon or that experience is common to Uvalde, but may not be common in other places. So could you tell us what you were referencing when you referenced that?
So, and they got to ask, right? Just because it's a reasonable question there, but they're like, can you talk about the rock or about these bailouts? And I don't. So the point of the bailouts thing is basically to say nobody knew what was happening here, right? Gonzales didn't know what was going on because it was a confusing moment. People thought it was a bailout. People thought it was, a drill. People thought it was whatever. And somebody says, what are bailouts? That's what they're about to explain. But if they don't do a good job, I'll explain it afterwards. So
When an illegal person, I guess, comes over and bails out of their vehicle or whatever they're in and is around, I guess, running around town possibly, there could be possible danger. So we would go on lockdown.
Right. And thank you for explaining that. And, and I do want to tell you this too. I think you deserve a lot of credit for acting on your own when you saw the coach run in, because one of the things you said is you didn't get the raptor alert. If you had waited out there for the raptor alert, you would have been out there with those kids. And I will agree, if you had waited, then that shooter would have been near or around in that area.
This is something else I like that the defense is doing. They kind of have to, which is that they will repeatedly, as they're cross-examining these witnesses, acknowledge that they're heroes, right? Acknowledge that they did awesome, because I think it's appropriate, right? I think it is entirely reasonable for them to be like, yeah, you saved a bunch of kids. One of the things that today really has shown, and I think the jury might be thinking about as, they go to deliberate, is that what we see over and over, like from this, is teachers who behaved in a heroic fashion compare and contrast with, compare and contrast this with the police who didn't. And, it's kind of shocking, I guess. So, yeah, it's worth noting this. And as much as you can go and later on quarterback, Monday morning quarterback this whole thing and say, oh, the teachers could have done more. The school was blocking out the, was blocking the doors open, and, not at the classroom, but like, elsewhere. As much as you can go back and say all of this stuff, at the end of the day, the teachers really, they really like stepped up. And I mean, I think that that's worth noting and commending, because it's really striking how the teachers are like, yep, I didn't think, I just, wasn't thinking about anything other than how do I save some kids. And there are kids alive today because they had a good teacher, which is kind of a horrifying thought, because when I was a kid, most of my teachers sucked. I think most of my teachers would have been like, all right, let's lock this kid out, he's annoying. But yeah.
But the
To be fair, I was really annoying as a kid, so I get it. But
and I think you're doing that, save your kids' lives, honestly. So you do get credit for that, and we appreciate that. But getting in the classroom and now talking about those bailouts, illegal. We talked about illegal, but people who are undocumented to come over, and I guess it was a common thing at that time in Uvalde. It was a common thing that these bailouts would happen, where there would be some sort of accident or wreck or some criminal activity or something that would cause people to bail out, and it would cause schools to go on lockdown, like yours, if it happened, I guess, in your area.
Correct.
And
so did you catch that, what the bailout is? They're saying it was a big deal that, they'd have people who wreck their vehicle, they go off running, and then it becomes a lockdown, but it's not really a scary lockdown, because it's a lockdown where they're just like, waiting for the police to get these guys. The people who are fleeing from a bailout are going to be behaving differently than people who are fleeing from a what do you call it? Or who are involved in like a mass shooting, because the people who are fleeing from a bailout are not going to want to have any conflict. They're not going to want to like stop at the school and, and like fight kids or shoot kids or anything. They just want to go, like they want to bail. And so if they went into the school, they would just like run through and like leave. So that's what people thought it was, right? They thought it was like, a lockdown, but not really a lockdown, if that makes sense. In the same way that like at work, who's had this where you've been working at a place that does like fire drills once a month, right? And every month they do a fire drill at some point. My school also did earthquake drills, which was stupid, because the construction of the school was such that if there was an earthquake, the whole school was going to collapse on itself and kill every single person inside. But we still did earthquake drills as if that was survivable in that particular building. But, you do this drill, and like you do the fire drills, and then like what happens? Well, the fire alarm goes off and people are like, oh, it's another drill. And, they leisurely go over and, they shut down their work, space. They go. I've seen people in a fire drill. They walk up to the vending machine and they get themselves like a thing of Coke or whatever. I've seen people at the coffee, like the coffee maker, lined up, like one or two people lined up using the coffee maker to get a coffee. And, and it's a fire drill, and they're like, yeah, but my coffee, like I'm going to be sitting outside, I'm going to have a coffee. Right. And, so that's the, That's the thing, right? So you've got this question of whether or not there's people, running out there or not, and it happens. What is it? What is it? I've been happy to have other LawTube looking at this case, but I feel bad for Runkle. Yeah, fair enough. I'm competing with some big names here, so is what it is, and I get it.
I don't know if you know this, but since you were a teacher there for that year.
Oh, and somebody's saying just grab the whole pot on your way out. So many workplaces have coffee makers now that just make it as you order it, and so they don't have a pot. So, yeah.
And you were a teacher there in like February to May. There's some estimate that there was about 50 bailouts.
I have been on
I'm
Fucker
asking if you know.
530.
You can answer if you know, ma'am. I'll overrule the objection.
About 50 bailouts from that February to May time period. And the reason I'm asking if you know is because some of those bailouts would be causing the schools to go on lockdown, right?
I'm unsure of how many there were.
But there were a lot.
I mean, it depends on how you or what you consider a lot. I don't know.
I guess I'll ask what you consider a lot. Did it seem like you were having to lock down for bailouts a lot?
Not an excessive amount, but enough to be noticed.
Right. And I think that's why when you talk to the ranger, here we go again. It's just another bailout, right? Those are the words that you use.
That the kids said, yes.
That the kid said. Okay, the words. that
I
you
believe
used-
so, yes.
Right. The words that you used to the ranger about what the kid said. Right.
Yes.
So there are second graders going, here we go again. It's just another bailout at the time, right?
Correct.
Now, you also told the ranger that you were safe. Well, I mean, nobody was safe, but you were at least in the classroom and kind of had started barricading when you got a text message from your husband.
Correct. In the statement, it says that.
Right. And in the text message, you said at first, because he's a volunteer firefighter, you said at first he told you there was something going on. And he's warning his wife, which any husband would. He was worried about her. He's telling you, be careful, like be aware something's going on, because he was hearing, I guess, something over a police scanner or something else. Is that?
Yes. Or he was on the phone. I don't know.
Sure. And then you told the ranger that after that you got a text message from him saying that there was an active shooter.
That's what I said at the time, yes.
That's what you said at the time. And that was a true statement, what you said at the time.
What I thought to be or what I remembered to be at the time. I was still in shock. You could hear it in my voice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you were, but there were, let's talk about some of those details. Your husband, you were communicating with your husband inside the classroom.
Correct.
And you knew enough to say that he told you that that there was an active shooter. And then the officer or the ranger asked you, so that's how you found out there was an active shooter.
So they're going through and they're basically trying to, find some contradictions. We are going to jump to the end of her testimony now.
Yeah.
Because this is a recap, not
Shots
a
coming
rewatch.
from
If we were going to rewatch everything, it's going to be like 6 hours. And yeah.
a location is not, I saw this person on the south side of the building. You would agree with that as well?
Yes, but wouldn't it be, I don't know, it's kind of implied?
You're saying that it's kind of implied, but it's this phrase right here, I saw a shooter and he was on the south side of the building. That was never said to the grand jury or at any other time, except in December when he told the prosecutors and they didn't tell us.
Yeah.
That's it. No further questions.
Okay, ma'am, would you do me a favor, if you'll go with the bailiff momentarily, don't leave, and we'll call you back in shortly. Members of the jury, I'm gonna give you a recess a little early. Take 15 minutes and remember my instructions wherever you want to rise for the jury.
So he tells the jury, hey, jury, off you go, right? Like, come back later. Now, somebody says, what time is it for Runkle? It is 7:10 right now. So this should be fairly straightforward, but instead it turns into a bit of a gong show. And the reason why it becomes a bit of a gong show is that the prosecution doesn't stick to like what they agreed. It's yeah. So
Completed the testimony. Where are we at on motions?
Yes, Your Honor. After considering the testimony of the witness, we are asking the court to avail us, the defense, of the remedy of instructing the jury that they cannot consider her testimony at all for any purpose in its entirety.
So this is what they had agreed would be the likely remedy. Is like, okay, we're excluding her testimony because of the prosecution's failure to disclose some of these new details, and yeah. So that's what they'd asked for, and now they're just asking for it again.
The failure to turn over the specific that specific piece of critical evidence has put us into a disadvantage with this witness, has put us to a disadvantage with our theory, as I've kind of outlined to the court in the ex parte brief that I provided. And we do not believe that, again, the court has denied the mistrial, but we do not believe that that allowing the jury to consider her testimony for any purpose, we believe that it'll affect the due process rights of the defendant and our ability to continue in the defense of the case in the way that we had set it up and prepared for it in the first place.
So when I heard the defense lawyer say this, I was like, all right, this is pretty straightforward. The defense is just asking for the thing that they wanted at the outset, that everybody sort of agreed was a reasonable outcome. And now the prosecution is going to weasel. Watch them weasel.
Yes, Your Honor. The accusation yesterday was significant. It gave us significant pause. The three very important things were left out. Number one, the shots flaring up around her. Number two, where the shooter was. And number three, the clothing that he was wearing. That gave us significant pause. But lo and behold, yesterday we're able to find out they did actually have the information about the shots being fired up behind her. The evidence has been developed today that they did actually have the evidence that she said that the shots, I agree, not the gunman, but the shots came from the building and then indicated. So they do have information that she was aware of where the shots were coming from. That does leave, though, Your Honor, still that disturbing point about the clothing not being turned over. We agree that is improper. We should have done it because it was new information. Didn't seem all that significant since we had photographs of the shooter in black. But nonetheless, we believe, number one, it has all been cured through cross-examination. He's pointed out that she didn't say it originally. The jury is aware of the truthful nature of her conduct all the way, and they weren't ready and prepared to do that. It has not caught them off guard as of now because of the court granting a continuance. Second of all, Your Honor, we believe that if the court does believe some kind of measure is appropriate, we ask the court not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that is the only surprise that they're addressing is the black hair and the gun, and it would be appropriate if the court feels like that caught them off guard and has affected their defense to instruct the jury not to consider that portion of the testimony.
He's like, so we want all the testimony in except for like a couple of things. Instead of getting the exclusion that everybody thought was agreed upon, we instead just want we just want them to throw all of this out. And I am surprised that the defense is like addressing this as calmly as he is, because I would be super pissed. Like, I would be sitting here just being like, are you kidding me? Judge, this fucker, are you kidding me? Now, I'm just going to say, part of my philosophy of being a defense lawyer is I always assume the best from prosecutors, right? And most prosecutors will treat you fairly. Most prosecutors will treat you honorably and so forth, at least in my area, in my jurisdiction. But once a prosecutor pulls some shit like this, that's when I remember that this prosecutor cannot be trusted, and they will go back on their word. They will go back on their promises. They are weasel shits. And everything you do with them has to be in writing. Everything you do with them, you have to wait you have to wait for the double cross. And if I'm the judge, I am sitting there going, prosecution, I saved your ass with not giving a mistrial. I saved your ass. Don't expect it to happen again. Because if I was a judge, this kind of shit would be burning my patience right down. And I would have some words for this, I would have some words for this particular prosecutor. And yeah, so.
Because I feel like I'm getting gaslit with this clothing thing. That is not the issue about black clothes. It is.
I feel like I'm being gaslit. You are being gaslit, and so is the court. He is trying to gaslight.
Is the fact that she said that she saw a man who matched the description of the shooter with a gun. And that's the key issue. It's not his clothing or the fact we know that he was wearing black. And ultimately, I think what the defense, what the prosecution doesn't know about the defense strategy, the court does know. There's things that we could have done and investigations we could have made.
Mr. Gus, I've heard enough. Again.
And I'm just going to say, this is one of those moments in a trial that feels bad, but you should know looks good. When it feels bad, when you get interrupted by the judge saying, I've heard enough. Mr. Goss, I've heard enough. But he's heard enough because he's on board. He's like, Mr. Goss, I don't need you to tell me how much this sucks. I don't need you to tell me how much this is some weaselly ass shit. I don't need you to go. I am there with you. Like, you're driving us to a destination. I got there first and I'm tired of waiting for you to catch up. So I'm just going to go ahead and set off the bomb, and you can get here when you get here. So why no Runkle goals this evening? I'm experimenting. I was wondering, and it's been suggested to me that the goals might be interfering with super chats as opposed to facilitating them. So I'm trying a no goals day instead, and we'll see how it goes. Just trying to see if this is, we're just trying to see how this goes, because the goal is to quit my day job. And so, yeah.
Mr. Attorney, you don't have the benefit of the ex parte brief that Mr. Goss filed, and I think you'll probably gleaned issues from the arguments, but there's no doubt that this was critical to the strategy. And I don't think I have any choice, having denied the mistrial, other than to craft a remedy that will protect the due process rights and hopefully avoid any appellate review that would result in this case being reversed. So I am reluctantly going to instruct the jury to disregard her testimony in its entirety when they come back out. If
you can read between the lines on this one, because the judge is like, this is a super big deal for the defense strategy, having seen the defense strategy. And in order to avoid this getting tossed on an appeal, I have to throw this out. And good for you, Judge. Good for you for sticking to it. Although, yeah. So the other thing I will also just randomly note, this judge is wearing a very orange tie, and I love it. So, yeah. Do we get proof of pizza bone delivery? No, it happened last night in the dark. And the dogs enjoyed the pizza bones, but I don't have video. So
we can bring her back in momentarily, the witness.
I also like what this judge does with the witness, because the judge also explains it to the witness, which I actually thought the judge was being quite decent in how he does that, because he didn't have to. He doesn't have to explain things to the witness, but he does, and I appreciate the heck out of it.
Ma'am, could you come up to the bench here very quickly? We're going to let you go here in a minute.
I hate to talk to people from the bench. You don't sit down, just right here. I just want to tell you, you may hear later on that I will instruct the jury to disregard your testimony, but I want to emphasize to you, you did absolutely nothing wrong. It is not on you. And I want to tell you just from personal experience, memories of traumatic events change, are different, or you recall more or less. I had a personal experience many years ago. My wife and I were hit by a drunk driver, and I spent 2 months in the hospital. Apparently, they almost lost me in the emergency room, but revived me. And I remember that event very clearly, that truck coming at us and trying to get out of the way. But every time I think about it, it's a little different. And that's because of stress and trauma. So nothing about this is on you. We appreciate your bravery that day, and we appreciate your testimony and being brave enough to come in here, and you are excused with our thanks. Take care.
I love that the judge here is like, okay, you know, we got to kick you out. Like, your evidence is gone. But, so her evidence, the jury is going to be instructed not to consider any of it. But he's like, this isn't your fault. You misremember things. It's a thing. And it isn't her fault. It isn't the fault that she has different memories and whatever else. It's the prosecution's fault for failing to turn over the new information. Because if they turned over the new information, then the defense would have had no argument here, right? Sometimes witnesses recant statements. That's fine. You know, you just have to turn it over. It is the prosecution's, it's the prosecution's whoopsie doodle here. Now, but the judge is like, okay, I need to explain to you this isn't your fault, and I'm going to relate to you with a personal anecdote. Like, I'm going to talk to you like a human being, and a lot of judges at this point would have just told her, you're free to go. And she would have found out about this watching it, like, you know, watching this on Runkle or whatever, right? And I think it's a really good thing that the judge is like, okay, not your fault, nothing you did. Props to this judge. Serious props to this judge. Like, I have liked this judge so far. Like, I have liked his rulings. I have, but this, I mean, it's one thing for a judge to make good rulings, right? It's one, but a lot of judges, and this is like a general criticism of the system, a lot of judges forget that everybody involved is a, you know, is a human being. And, you know, especially the, you know, especially the teachers in this scenario are humans who've gone through some real shit. So, good on him. Good on him for this. I really like that the judge took that step. I think it was a really good move. And, yeah.
All right, we're going to take the rest of the recess till the jury comes back out. So I think they got about 5 more minutes or so. We're in recess.
All right, so we're going to wait for the jury to come back and see those jury instructions. Here we go. And unfortunately, most of the jury instructions got muted because, of course, they did. I'm like, we should actually be hearing this.
In that regard, and I'm going to expect you to follow it. So listen carefully to this instruction, if you would, ladies and gentlemen. We have just heard testimony, as you know, from the witness, Stephanie Hale. The court, outside your presence, after a hearing mandated by law, has ruled that the witness's testimony will be and must be excluded as a matter of law. Therefore, you are instructed to disregard any and all testimony provided by Stephanie Hale, and her testimony will play no role in your analysis, deliberations, and decision in this case. With this instruction, you are reminded that you are bound by your oath as a juror to follow the ruling of the court as provided. So please remember, ladies and gentlemen, mandated by law, don't speculate about it, don't wonder about it, don't hold it against either side, just follow my instruction. All right. Good morning. Will you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear the evidence in the testimony you're giving this cause will be the truth, so help you God. You can have a seat over here. Thank you, ma'am.
So when he says to the jury, don't speculate about it, that's, you know, what is the jury obviously going to do? They're obviously speculating about it. Why was this, why was this excluded? Why was this? And that is part of why that's part of why the defense wanted to cross-examine, because they're like, the jury is still going to think about this, even though we pretend that they're not. So, yeah. Okay. On to our next witness. And once again, it's going to be chest camera.
Different campuses.
Okay. And just for the record, what campuses did you work at, or was it only Rob?
I've worked for the district for 25 years, so I have worked at different campuses.
Okay. And just for the record, where is Rob Elementary located? What town and what county?
Uvalde, Texas.
And how long had you been at Rob Elementary as of May of 2022?
I've been there for a month.
A month. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And what room number did you work in? What was your room number at Rob?
132.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I? So the witness was previously been admitted as exhibit number 1. I'll tell you what, I'm going to head over there so the jury, so you don't have to get up too far. So, Ms. Muddy, approximately where is your room number with regard on this map? And for the record, what we're looking at is a map of Rob Elementary, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it's an aerial view of the school.
Correct.
So where on this map is your room?
My room is located.
Okay. And what we're looking at is the,
This is also why they need to stop focusing on the witness. Like, stop it. Because over and over and over again, they catch a glimpse of the witnesses, and it's like, there is nothing to see at the witness's chest. Nothing there is going to happen, right? This is not the Spaceballs movie. It's not going to end with like an alien creature leaping out of her chest and doing a little song and dance number. Nothing interesting is going to happen at her cleavage, right? So, but the only thing that does is raise the risk of showing their face. Like, stop it. Put the camera somewhere else. Put the camera on the lawyer. Put the camera on the judge. Put the camera on the clock. Put the camera on the fan. Put the camera on literally anything else. Yeah. Okay, so let's jump ahead a little bit because this witness is, we'll see what she's here for.
Get in the rooms.
okay. So at this point, you know the shooter, you saw him shooting at the south end, and did you see him after that, after you ran to the door?
When I was at the door, I just saw him like getting near the cars that were parked there.
How far did you see him come up?
It was a little bit past the half mark.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, the cars were parked there, so I couldn't see after that.
Okay. But you did see him shooting towards the south end?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you're staying in that hallway and you're trying to get the kids into their rooms, okay, then what did you do?
I kept asking the operator, where are the cops? Where are the cops? And I tell her, there's kids running everywhere, because I looked down towards the east hallway, and there was an area out there where the kids could.
So I'm just going to stop here and note, this is really what she's here for. And she's here, like, nobody disagrees with what went down. you know, nobody, like, there is no real dispute as to the, like, but she's here for the emotional impact. And really, this, like, you have not heard much about Mr. Gonzales through this whole, through this whole thing. And the reason why is because they don't seem to have a whole lot on Mr. Gonzales. What they instead have is they've got a whole lot on, we just want you to feel really awful, jury. We want you mad. We want you sad. We want you upset. We want you in all of the emotional states that cause people to stop thinking about things. Because if you think about things critically, then we got nothing. But we really are hoping that you are just super sad and super upset that you are ready to convict any person. Because the thing is I don't like what the police did. I don't know that Gonzales is the guy I'd go after. Like, yeah. I feel like the prosecution's theory of the case with regards to Gonzales is way weaker than it is with regards to whoever made the decision not to go in when they had 374 cops there. And so I feel like Gonzales is really being, like, hung out to dry on this one. Because, like, every single cop there is a coward, right? Every single cop there is a coward. But I don't know that cowardice and jail time necessarily go together, right? Yeah.
Play as well, and they were running into their classrooms.
Okay. And that call that you made tonight.
He's the resource officer for an entirely different school. So, yeah.
911. Have you reviewed that call? Okay. I think we played it for you. Have we? I can't remember. Okay. But you did make a 911 call to an operator.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
The state would tender state's exhibit number.
Okay.
State would admit state's exhibit number 9, which is a 911 call recording of Ms. Money.
All right, so then,
The state would ask to publish it to the jury.
please.
We're going to play that 911 call for you, Ms. Money.
Anybody coming at once? Yes, there's no person right there behind Rock 4. Behind Rock 4, yes, they ran into the ditch. Well, Tommy did is pick up. They went to the pickup truck. And the pickup truck, I said, anybody, I heard him coming over. Oh my God, they're running. I don't know why. Oh my God, it's all the time. Like, I'm not be around till 7:15 or pretty low. We don't have a one vehicle accident white pickup truck crashed in the ditch. I will call her and like, know where they're coming at. Ma'am. Hello? Yes. Okay, ma'am, how many people are running? 3 people running. 3 people running? Hello, ma'am? Yes. Okay, ma'am, what's your name? Amy. Yes. Okay. Miss Amy, how many shots were fired? Okay, ma'am, he's on campus. Oh my God. I think there were kids in the area. Okay, he's on help. Miss Amy, can you give me a description of the man with the gun?
So can I just say, listening to your own 911 call, I have been in the situation of listening to my 911 call. Now, my 911 call that I had to listen to was the, I was listening to the 911 call of me calling in a drunk driver. Now, I don't call the police for just nothing, right? I don't call the police just because I think somebody is maybe a little, like, whatever. I called the police because this guy was driving across 6 lanes of traffic on a road that's like 3 lanes and 3 lanes, right? So he was driving all the way across into oncoming traffic and then all the way back. Like this guy was smashed off his ass, right? And I was a pretty good 911 caller because I'm a defense lawyer and I know exactly how to fuck over future defense lawyer. And, you know, because I'm sitting there and I've got this guy on the phone, like I've got the 911 caller on the phone, like the dispatcher, and they're like, okay, discontinue. And I'm like, no. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I'm going to keep following this guy. And they're like, well, we're telling you to discontinue. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm keeping an eye on this guy. And so I'm going and I'm reading out the guy's license plate number, and I read it out twice phonetically so that it's like absolutely crystal clear that it's the right vehicle. I am describing moment by moment what he's doing, like, you know, the driving pattern. I'm doing all of this. I'm narrating every like thing I can narrate. Listening to that later, after the fact, when I'm listening to the 911 call prior to what I expected would be a trial, I was cringing really hard as I was doing it because I'm listening to it and I'm like, man, I sound like such a wanker. And I have got to figure out what's doing that and figure out how to stop it. So what I was saying is that, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is terrible. This is awful, you know, like second guessing myself. But they're in a different situation because like she is like reliving a situation where children died, right? And so all of the I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have whatever, all of those things are like amplified because you've got the survivor's guilt, right? And so she's probably sitting there going, I should have done this, I should have done that, maybe I could have saved one more person, and the thing is that she was absolutely a goddamn hero, right? She was absolutely heroic. And you know, and they're dragging her through what is probably like a PTSD moment and making her relive and second guess and all of those things. And I'm like, why are we dragging her through this on this prosecution? I don't think it's a great prosecution, but like, I hope she knows. I hope she knows that like the world watching this is entirely on her side. Like everybody watching this should be going, she is awesome. Like she did what the police didn't. She, you know, she stepped up. Her concerns were just to help these kids out. She is a freaking hero, and I hope she knows it. And, you know, so yeah, somebody's saying, how can we tell her that we support her? If she watches this, she will know it. Otherwise, I mean, don't reach out to anybody because, you know, she probably just doesn't want the world reaching out, even with positive statements. And I never encourage anybody to reach out to people they see on something like this. But, you know, she's a hero in, you know, and I feel like maybe the teachers haven't gotten the recognition they deserve on this one because they really deserves some, like, they deserve a freaking parade. So, yeah.
Okay, can you remember what he was? Can you remember what he was doing? I can't see. Okay, I just have to let you guys know where it is. Oh my God. I think he came on campus, ma'am. He came on campus, ma'am. Okay, that's you remember.
And you can see this is difficult. Like, okay. All right. I hate that the prosecution's dragging her through this.
Can you remember what he was wearing when you saw him exit the vehicle? No, all I saw was the truck. Oh my God. Ma'am, where was he running towards? You said he ran into the school? Okay, ma'am. Are you going to be away from the building already? Okay, now where are you going to be? Okay, ma'am. Where are the cops? Okay, ma'am, I do have units already pulled up. Okay, now can you talk? Units divided college? Can you see him now? Okay, so you can't see him anymore? Oh my God.
Now, I feel like these 911 calls in some ways play to both the defense and the prosecution, because the prosecution likes the 911 calls because they're like, okay, we get to get the emotion, we get to get the stress and the tension and whatever else. But the defense gets to also be like, well, look, this is chaotic. This is, so, but I feel awful for the fact that they're putting her through this. I really do. And I don't think the prosecution is on track right now to a conviction. Unless the prosecution's holding back some good information, like right now, the path is towards an acquittal. That's my feeling on this one. And that doesn't mean I think Gonzales is a great guy. I mean, I think Gonzales is kind of a piece of shit, but I don't think he's a should go to jail piece of shit. I think he's a should have to live with his shame piece of shit. And like, should have, when he goes out to, when he goes out to the bar and, is sitting there like, he's like, hey, I'd like a beer. And they're like, aren't you the piece of shit that was at, Uvalde? Yeah, that was me. Okay. Get the fuck out. That is the kind of world we should live in, where this guy goes about and everybody knows he's a piece of garbage and he doesn't work in policing anymore and so forth. But I don't feel the need for this guy to be in jail. Jail isn't the solution to all of our problems, right? We should actually have an intermediate step, which is just, F this guy, right? So, yeah.
Okay, now you went inside the building? Okay, mom. Oh my God. Okay, ma'am, we do have the officers on scene, okay?
Now, Ms. Modine, we see and hear you trying to relay information at the same time that you're trying to get the children into the classroom. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, after the 911,
And you can literally see her shaking. Like, okay. Sometimes I feel like our court system grinds people up and into burger just to, just to prove a point. And yeah. And yeah, they even stop parents from going in to save their children. Whoever made that decision, put them in the booth, right? I was actually surprised when I heard the prosecution's allegations because I was like, wait, this guy? Like, why not the people who made those, absolutely horrific calls, about not going in and not letting the parents go in and so forth? Why?
call ended. What did you do?
Yeah, there were parents with firearms who were braver than the cops. And, so everybody's like, where was the good guy with a gun? Well, they needed a good guy with a gun. They had police officers, and that's not the same thing.
I'm sorry. I had ran inside my room to go call the front office from my intercom. And then I was going to run back out to make sure everybody was safe. But something stopped me. And I looked at the door and I looked at the counter and I ran under the counter. When I went under the counter,
I can hear the survivor's guilt here. And God, I hate that that's something she's got to live with, right? So I really hate that that's, where I hope she knows she didn't do anything wrong. She excelled.
and that's when the call hung up.
Okay. Approximately how long were you in your classroom?
During the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
It was about 45 minutes.
And during that time, what were you thinking or what were you doing?
The shots wouldn't stop. They were just going round after round. A round would go off, and then there was total silence. And then another round, and total silence. And one of those times that it was silent, the AC kicked on, and I said, "Don't turn on. I'm not going to hear him when he comes this way."
All right, we're going to jump ahead because quite frankly, like this is what the prosecutor wants. They want the horror. They want all of this stuff. And it's ugly, right? It's ugly.
Okay. And by that time, had Mr. Gonzales showed up by that time?
No, sir.
Out there because
It haunts me to this day.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to see the beginning of cross here.
Pass the witness.
She's like, I want to get the most all the horrible things in, and then pass the witness over. And yeah, okay. So,
Please. Ms. Maria, my name is Nico. Have you ever testified before?
No, sir.
Okay. This is called cross-examination. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to go as slow as you want, okay? I'm not going to attack you. I'm not trying to hold you accountable. You did nothing wrong. I'm just going to ask you some questions on your observations. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I like the way he does this, and he starts off with basically just, I don't hate you. Like, we're good. You know, and this is the kind of witness you have to do a very gentle cross-examination with. You have to be decent. Because can you imagine you come in and you try to do like a hot cross on this one? The jury's going to hate you, right? And I actually think that the jury is looking at this and they see the prosecution winding her up and dragging her through this horror. And then they see him come out and they're like, I just, this is a cross-examination. This is part of the process, but I'm not here to attack you. I'm not going to, and I'm like, good on you, defense.
If you don't understand my question, ask me to repeat it and I will. Okay? I think you told the government that you had gone outside to meet a gentleman named Gabriel, correct?
Yes, sir.
Gabriel Gonzales?
Yes, sir.
And I understand what you're saying. I think we all do. You propped the rock there because teachers were not given kind of a key fob system where you could just click in and out of a door, correct?
Correct.
And not every teacher had a key.
Correct.
And I'm going to talk to you about that. Yes, ma'am.
I won't say correct because I don't know who had a key.
Fair enough. Because you'd only been there for how long?
A month.
A month. You didn't have a key.
I had a key.
You had a key. Okay.
He's being very gentle, right?
Yes.
Okay, because it's just really quick. Okay. And when you went out to see Mr. Gonzales to get the supplies, and then you went through the crash, and you saw that going on, and you came back inside to get your phone, correct?
Correct.
And then you go back outside, and then we hear you on 911 with the operator. I'm real curious before we get into those details. Did you realize, what did Mr. Gonzales do?
When I was waiting, of course, he wasn't there yet. Can I show you where I was at?
Yes, ma'am.
When I ran,
Please.
I was running to help him, so I ran to about right here. I came out of the sidewalk and I ran all the way to here.
So that's a good distance.
Yes, sir.
Because I've been to this location. So you came from the west, and for the record, I'm pointing to the west door entrance and exit, right?
Correct.
And so you went from the X, do you mind if I'm this close to you?
No.
Okay, thank you. You went from here all the way down Geraldine to where the blacktop ends near Grove Street.
I ran on the outside of the campus, not the inside.
And what's
I ran
the
to the
difference?
sidewalk. There's a fence.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you came out here and you got to the blacktop here on Geraldine?
No, not to the blacktop. I was about right.
Okay. And by that time, had Mr. Gonzales showed up by that time?
No, sir. I'm outside and I'm asking the teacher to call the front office. I'm in the hallway telling the kids to get inside. When I go into my classroom, that's when I see Mr. Gonzales drive off. So he came in through the U and he drove off.
And so at some point, Mr. Gonzales came in and you don't know what he saw or didn't see?
No.
You have no idea if the government spoke with him?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you stay in contact with Mr. Gonzales today?
No, sir.
Okay. And practically, I mean, you put a rock at the door because you thought the door was locked.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you thought the door wasn't locked, you wouldn't have to put a rock at the door.
Correct.
So you get back inside and we can hear you, and I'm very sorry you went through that. I think we all are. That sounds very traumatic. But we hear you on 911, and you're giving a description of what you're perceiving from that door.
Mm-hmm.
And so just, may I approach, Judge?
Yes.
And so that west side door, and we'll probably see a picture of it. There's not a big window here.
No.
It's a door. I don't know which door you came in, and it has a window strip, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So your view is limited to that window strip, correct?
Correct.
So you can see in front of you fairly decent, but you definitely can't see to either side without opening the door to check.
Correct.
Is it an outward swinging door or inward swinging door? Outward. So if I'm outside the building, I would pull to open it.
Right.
So is it fair to say that your view from that door was limited?
It was limited, which is when the shooter jumped the fence, I could see this way. When I had ran to her and the operator said, "What is he wearing?" I ran back and I'm seeing him, and from where he's getting to the vehicles, that's when I'm going like this in the window because I can't see him anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Judge, just for procedural purposes, would you prefer me to ask before I approach every time? Because I might have to come back and forth.
No, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to make sure it's clear, because I don't know if it's been explained yet. So when you say he jumped the fence, so the crash is here at Geraldine and Grove, correct?
Correct.
And that's kind of the culvert, and there's a railing here, and he went over the railing into the culvert, right?
He went through the railing, like crashed into the railing.
And I don't want to make you stand up again, but is the fence you're talking about here?
No, the fence is right here.
What fence did he jump?
He jumped this fence.
Okay, is that the perimeter for the school?
Yes.
Okay, so he jumps this fence. Now, by this time, you're already back to the door,
Yes.
and you're on 911 by this time.
Yes, sir.
And then he's walking. I think you testified previously that he was running, but
No,
he was walking, right? Have you seen the video from the funeral?
No,
You have not seen that? Okay. What have you reviewed in preparation for your trial today?
I'm sorry. I had seen the video like on the news where they showed some of the
Yes, ma'am.
the funeral. Yes.
And that's something we're going to talk to a lot of people about, because the news has shown a lot of these things.
Right.
And so I'm going to ask respectfully, if we have to take some time, distinguish what you saw at the time versus what you saw later on the news. Okay. Thank you. And so you have seen the funeral view.
Yes.
Because there's some video.
Why are we now at the? This is not better, court. This is not better. This new view. Okay.
Yes.
And so he's walking, but at one point you described him as running. And that's not, it's okay, it's normal to do that, but you described him as running at one point.
I don't think I did, but
In the grand jury testimony? Maybe, okay, well, regardless, he's coming to the school. You testified that you perceived, because you're looking through the door, you perceived that he was shooting towards the south side of the building.
Mhm.
Would you also agree that from where the door is, the perception is everything to the left of this door is the south side is towards the south side of the building? Is that a fair
Correct,
statement? So if he was shooting out these windows, that could be perceived by you, understandably, through that little window of him shooting towards, because it is towards the south side of the building, but hitting these windows. Is that a fair statement? Anything to this side of you is the south side of the building, right?
Mhm.
Towards the south side.
Mhm.
Because this is the south entrance.
right, correct,
This is considered the east entrance.
correct,
There's no north entrance, but this is the north side of the building,
Correct.
of the school, and this is actually the front of the school.
Correct.
Okay, so this is considered the west side of the school.
Mhm.
And so anything to this side of this entrance appears like the south side,
right.
because it is actually, right?
Right.
It's towards the south side.
Mhm.
And you didn't know at the time, but you knew he was shooting, and later you found out that he was shooting out these windows.
He was, when he was here, walking here, he was already shooting to the south direction.
Right, to the south direction. You just
Right.
couldn't tell which were part of it.
Right.
Okay, so he was shooting in this direction.
So basically, what the defense lawyer is doing here is he's establishing their timeline of Gonzales never actually saw the shooter, right? Didn't actually know exactly where he was, never actually got eyes on the guy in order to, to defend and to help out. Bus stop juror says, I watched testimony live today and cried through almost all of her testimony. Are jurors allowed to cry? Yes, but if they do too much of that, like if they get too emotional, they might get removed. So jurors are generally instructed to be poker faced. So yeah.
Okay, and we'll ask somebody else about shell casings if there's any evidence of that, okay? And so when he did that, you're in here, and have you seen the video from inside the school?
Yes.
Okay, and we're gonna go slow on that one, okay? And so while you're on the phone, you are yelling down for everyone to get in their classrooms. Yes?
Yes.
And is there a system to warn other teachers of incidents like bailouts on the phone? Is it like a texting system?
They have a Raptor system, the school district does.
Raptor. And was that, but you were notified of you knew about the Raptor system, right?
I knew about it, but I wasn't on it.
Fair enough. But the purpose of the system is for teachers to to text each other incidents.
I don't know if they text each other.
I'm going to object as to speculation. She's already said she didn't have it on her phone. She didn't got it. So at this point, any testimony about speculation on her part.
Well, just she answered the question. That's fine, Judge.
Okay, proceed.
But you know that things like a bailout could be communicated between teachers.
I'm going to object as to bail out. I mean, he's got to lay the predicate that she even knows what a bailout is.
I was about to do that.
The prosecution is throwing some bullshit objections here just to break his stride. That's what this is about.
Okay, I'm going to overrule the objection. Ma'am, these questions, if you know the answer, you can answer them. If you don't, just tell me. Okay, proceed.
And if you don't understand any of my questions, you say, Nico, I don't understand your question, and you know I'll ask you again, okay?
Yes, sir.
And don't answer a question that you don't know.
Okay.
There's a rule of evidence that you have to have personal knowledge. I'm gonna do my best not to ask you a question you don't have personal knowledge of, but you can check my homework and tell me if I'm wrong, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so do you know what a bailout is?
I do.
Okay, will you please describe to the jury what a bailout is?
It is when a vehicle is being chased by a police officer, police vehicles. And if the people being chased get out of their vehicle and run out.
That is correct. And that school had dealt with a lot of bailouts.
Objection calls for speculation.
Judge, if she knows.
If you know, ma'am, only if you know.
I don't know, not that.
Prosecution really wants to interrupt with his, interrupt this because they're like, oh shit, he's making headway on our witness who's supposed to just be, she's supposed to just be there to be sad and tragic and so forth, but he's actually getting some answers out of her, and we don't like this. Like, we don't like, and the thing they like even less about what the defense lawyer is doing is they like it even less that he is coming off like a human being. Like, he's actually building sympathy where the prosecution might not be. And so I feel like the prosecution is like freaking out here because they're like, oh shit, not only is he building his case, but he's also making the jury like look. I'm sure the jury is looking at him going like, okay, that's good. And the prosecution should maybe learn from this.
School, okay. But you'd only been there a month.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But what you do know about that school is that school did not have a full-time officer assigned to it.
They did not.
And that's not your decision. That's more of a school district decision, right?
Correct.
Do you know if anybody had complained about that school not having a specific full-time officer or officers?
I do not know.
Did you have occasion, or did you know if any of the teachers down the hall heard you when you were screaming at them to get in the classrooms?
I know I saw one teacher standing in the hallway when I was screaming for them to get in their rooms.
Do you know if the individual classrooms have the ability to be locked and secured from any type of intruder?
I do not know.
How long have you worked in the school, academia?
25 years.
Is it fair to say that most schools have locks from the inside to stop someone from entering?
I'm going to object as a speculation as to most schools.
I'll
Can you rephrase it?
Have all the schools that you've worked at over the 25 years have locks to be able to lock from the inside?
I do not know.
Most of the schools you've worked at.
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
Those are different questions, prosecutor.
You can say no.
I do not know.
You don't know. Fair enough. I want to ask you about the specific doors at this school, Robb Elementary. Are you aware that there was issues with teachers locking doors?
I do not know.
Are you aware that there were issues of doors not being able to lock in the first place, even if someone wanted to lock them?
I was not aware.
But it was your impression, and you fully believed that that west side door was locked.
Yes, sir.
Did you later come to find out that that door was not locked?
I didn't find out until about a year after.
Yes, ma'am. That's why I said later. So later on, and let me just be very clear. That's not your fault.
That's a very gentle thing there. And it's not your fault is he's being very soft, very gentle with this witness. And that's exactly what you need. I did not think, and I'm just going to lay my own biases, my own, prejudices out on the line. I see a guy with that kind of like slick back hair, and I don't expect that he's going to be good at the gentle. Normally, when I see that kind of like lawyer, they're the kind of people who like the like harsh smackdown, but are bad at the gentle, soft touch. This guy's surprising me because he is, he's doing great.
You didn't unlock that door, okay? So I'm not saying that or suggesting that in the slightest, but later on you found out that door had not been locked. Correct?
Can you repeat that?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Later on you found out that west side door was not locked. You were treating it like it was locked, but it was not locked.
Correct.
And that was not your fault.
Correct.
Thank you very much. Pass the witness.
No more questions. Judge, and may this witness be excused.
Subject to recall.
No, Judge.
Okay, ma'am, you are released from the subpoena. You're not subject to recall. Thank you very much.
Court TV. Yeah. Okay. Like why? All right, here we go. And yes, this witness apparently was given a whole bunch of public condemnation because people thought she was the one who left it unlocked. She wasn't. It wasn't her fault. So.
You do solemnly swear the evidence in the testimony given this cause will be the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay.
So on to our next witness here.
This is our witness stand over here. If you'll have a seat, make yourself comfortable.
That microphone will adjust, make it comfortable for you. Speak up so everybody can hear you. Have a seat.
Good morning, Mr. Hill.
Good morning.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Nervous a little?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you come over from Uvalde?
Yes, sir.
And is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
Since I was born.
So that's your whole life?
Yes, sir.
And back in 2022, what part of Uvalde did you live in?
The same place.
The same place you live now? And is Uvalde in Uvalde County, Texas? I need to ask that too, I guess.
Yes.
Thank you. And tell me what you live next to or near.
Right in front of the school.
Right in front of the school? Which school is that?
Rub.
Okay. And is there a funeral home close by too?
Yes, sir.
And where is it from where you live?
Towards the west.
Okay. And
I don't know why.
And the place that you live.
I don't know why this guy's face is visible. I mean, maybe he just didn't opt to. Yeah.
Still live by Robb Elementary School. Were you home?
Yes, sir.
On that morning of the 24th?
Yes, sir.
And what were you doing?
Getting ready for work.
And that was about 11:30 or so?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did something catch your attention out of the ordinary though?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell the jury what that was?
At first I thought it was construction, but kept going on for a while, so just thought it might be gunshots.
So at first it sounded construction. Can
Maybe
you
someone,
describe that a little more for me so we kind of understand the sound?
a nail gun, someone banging on their house. I don't really remember.
Like a nail gun?
Mhm.
Okay, so you attached it to construction. Are you in the construction business?
No, sir.
Okay. And after you heard that for a while, then you changed your mind?
Yes, sir.
And tell us what did you change your mind to?
I thought maybe that's a firearm.
Okay. Where were you when you heard these things?
In the restroom, getting ready for work.
Inside your
Inside
your
my
home?
house. Yes, sir.
And you could still hear those sounds?
Yes, sir.
It sounded like a nail gun and then like a gunshot. So what did you do?
I went to the window.
And where is your window?
I don't really know how.
Is it on the first floor, second floor?
Second.
Huh?
Second floor?
On the second floor?
Yes, sir.
What did you do from the second floor?
Looked out the window.
Okay. Did you do anything other than look out the window?
Not right away, no.
Okay. Well, tell us what you saw as you looked out the window.
At first, Nothing really. And then I looked at it.
God, this is the kind of witness that is really, really crappy to really crappy to examine. Because this guy is not he's not able to, like, the prosecution's having to drag the story out of the guy. And firearms and firecrackers sound different to those who know. Some nail guns use 22 blanks. What we've heard a lot is people saying that it sounds like it sounds like what do you call it, construction. It sounds like the trash can. It sounds like, or the garbage truck. It sounds like all of these things. And that really helps the defense, because the defense is like, nobody knew what was going on yet.
Again, and I saw someone about to go into the school.
Someone what?
About to go into the school.
Okay. Could you describe what he looked like?
I remember.
Okay. Other than looking out the window, did you do anything else?
I took a video.
And how did you take the video?
On my phone.
Okay. And is it a relatively short video?
I believe so. I don't really remember.
Okay.
We don't object to the video.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, then, Your Honor, we'd offer states to give it 18. And I'm going to ask not to play it at this time, but to finish my direct and pass the witness and then play it. That's okay.
Yes, sir. All right, go ahead. Thank you.
Did you eventually turn that video over to law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
Mr. Hill, I'm Nico the Hood. I represent Adrian, one of the lawyers who represents him. Have you testified before? No, sir. Okay, I'm just going to ask you questions. I'm not going to go at you, but I do want your full name for the record. What's your first name? Jose. And he, is it G-I-L or H-I-L-L? H-I-L-L. Okay, because he can be G-I-L, right? You spell it a different way. So you look out the window, and from your window, you can see the parking lot of Robb Elementary, or a corner of it. No. No? Well, you can see the west side entrance, maybe? Yes. Is that fair to say? Okay, and the west side entrance from your window, what's behind your view from the window and behind the west side entrance? It's just an empty field next to the alley. Is there something between the empty field and the alley and then the west side entrance? A ditch. Okay. There's not a parking lot. Is there? Let me ask you in general. Is there a parking lot on the west side, outside the west side? Yeah, I guess so. It was just gravel, but yeah, I guess. Was it paved back then? I don't remember. Okay. But did you watch the person that entered the west side entrance for a while, or was it just kind of momentarily? It was just quick. Momentarily. Why did you get a video? Why did you start your camera? Because I can't see very well. So I was like, wait, is someone actually going in there? Is someone actually holding a firearm? That's pretty much it. And I know you don't want to watch the video, and I respect that, but what will the jury eventually see from that window, from your recollection, from your video? Just like 2 seconds of him go into the school.
I give them props for not showing this video to this witness. They're like, we're going to show the video to the jury, but this guy doesn't have to see the video. Cool. I like that. Awesome.
Thanks for being here, Mr. Hill. Pass the witness.
No further questions.
Recall, anybody?
No, Your Honor.
No recall?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you're excused from the subpoena. Thank you. Safe travels.
Real short witness. We're going to skip over some of the other witnesses because they're not as short, but that one's just a real short, real quick. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Turner.
May we display Exhibit 18 to the jury, Your Honor?
Yes, you publish.
All right, so here's the video. And we're going to go back because somebody didn't maximize the size of that. Yeah, we're going to show this, and we're going to take it to 1 speed. Actually, maybe we'll take it to 75 speed. So 0.75. Here we go. That's the video. That's like, they got this guy in, and that was all they needed him for, is just to get that video in. So, yeah. All right. Next witness we're gonna cover briefly. Nicholas Starro wanted me to go over this witness a lot more, and
what do you do for a living, sir?
I'm currently a special agent with the FBI in San Antonio.
How long have you been with the San Antonio FBI office?
I got to the San Antonio division in 2012.
And what do you do for the FBI?
I'm a human agent. What I do is I go out and collect informants. But one of my auxiliary duties is also evidence response team.
And would you tell us what an evidence response team is?
The evidence response team is a crime scene team, right? We go out and we process crime scene, collect evidence, take photographs, write reports, and present it to juries and law enforcement.
And prior to working for the FBI, could you tell us what your background was?
I worked for 10 years with the Texas DPS Crime Laboratory as a DNA analyst. Then from there, I went to the FBI in 2004.
And what is a DPS analyst with the FBI? I mean, with the DPS, excuse me.
So there's several different types of forensic scientists with the DPS Crime Lab. Some do drug analysis, some do alcohol analysis. I did DNA analysis, meaning I worked with body fluids to determine the origin and match them to suspects or victims.
all right. So what does this guy do? This guy talks for like 200 hours, but what he does for a living is, or what his job is primarily, is he goes and he works he works informants. So this is a snitch wrangler, right? This is that's what he does. Now, but the other thing he does is DNA analysis, and at the time he also did crime scene analysis. So let's jump ahead a bit to him explaining some things, because he's going to explain a whole lot of things, but we're not going to spend a huge amount of time on this guy. Nicholas Starro wanted me to spend a lot of time because he thought that I would be ranting about this guy, talking about brass ejection, and I don't actually think he did too bad.
Goes through that scene could change how the scene is.
And did you investigate a scene on or about May 24th, 2022?
We did.
And what scene was that?
It was at Robb Elementary in Uvalde.
And how did you get involved in that investigation?
I was actually in San Antonio at the time, and I was the acting team leader for our team. Got a phone call saying, hey, our assistance is being requested to go out to Uvalde to process a scene.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And when did you get there?
By the time we mobilized, let's see, this is approximate. It takes about, an hour and 15, depending on how fast you drive, from San Antonio to Uvalde. So we probably got there closer to around 2 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
And can you describe the scene as just in general terms when you got there?
Lots of police cars, lots of activity. We're trying to figure out where to go. First, we were told to go to the hospital to pick up evidence from victims there, and then plans changed, and we were told to head to the elementary school, and that's where we went. And then we, try to figure out, where do we begin? What are our taskings? What is being asked of us, right? So we were being asked to support the Texas Rangers, and we were asked to process the outside of the school.
So why is this guy getting called in when his specialty is like DNA and snitch wrangling? Because they needed everybody. I'm sure that it was basically like everybody who's got a pulse and who isn't like a complete moron, get here now. And this guy's got a pulse and he's not a complete moron. This guy does not have a bright future with the Canton PD, because he actually is able to think. And he does have the Canton PD haircut. I don't know if he's able to butt dial, but yeah, this guy's not bad. All right, let's skip ahead to somebody actually asking him a question.
Casings of a pistol on the south side of the building.
All right, here we go. Yeah, and this guy is not eligible for Canton PD because he collected like evidence in evidence bags and not in, solo cups and stop and shop bags.
Take a second to load up. This may assist you if you're going through this.
Okay.
Okay, could we start with Exhibit 85? Can you explain to us what we're looking at here?
This is the west side of the elementary school.
Okay, and at the very top of the photograph, Exhibit 85, is that the south side of the building?
Yes.
And toward that top side of the building, y'all did the line search across there, is that correct?
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you this time, not what you found, but what you didn't find. Did you find any casings of a pistol on the south side of the building?
No.
And there was a thorough search?
Yes, we did it multiple times.
And State's Exhibit 86. Could you tell us what we're looking at here?
The same west side of the building.
And if we will, would you approach the TV and show us on the north or the top right-hand corner, if you see any vehicles, the very top right-hand corner?
Oh, this one here?
Yes, sir. Is there a vehicle over there?
Yes.
Sliding color?
Yes.
Did you search all the way to that vehicle?
Yes.
And all the way from that vehicle back through the parking lot?
Yes.
And were there any pistol or handgun casings found in that location?
No.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 87, do you know who Kirby Howell is?
Yes.
And would you tell the jury who he is?
She is our
She, I'm
photographer.
sorry?
Yes.
She's your photographer?
Yes, our full-time FBI photographer in San Antonio.
So does this document that these are the photographs that she took?
That's correct.
State's Exhibit 88, could you tell us in general terms where we're looking now?
This is the west side of the school building.
And is there anything specific there as far as red flags that you have marked?
Red flags denote anything that we believe was evidence. And you can also see a backpack there.
And when photographs are taken, are they taken in a series? By that, I mean, do you start wide and then get closer to close-ups in general terms?
So typically, yes, when we see evidence, we take a long-range shot, so we see where it is in relation to the rest of the scene. We do a medium-range shot to get a better look at it in relation to the rest of the scene, and then we do a close-up shot to see what it actually looks like before we pick it up.
But when do you get in there with the leaf blower and the Stop and Shop bags? Like, where is where's that? It's like they're barely even police. So what he's saying is they get a picture that is like, show where the evidence is, a picture that shows like where the evidence is in relation to smaller stuff, and then a picture that shows the actual evidence zoomed in. I suspect he might, but right now the prosecution hasn't brought a case that would require the defense to testify. So yeah.
Okay. So with Exhibit 88, could you tell us where the photographer is standing and what direction they're looking?
The wall, if you're looking at the wall, that's the west side of the school building. So she's standing looking at the west side of the school building.
And that whole west.
Somebody's saying, didn't somebody else take these pictures? Yes, but he's going to be allowed to explain the pictures because he was there, like he was present, and he knows what's in the pictures, and he can provide some context. They will probably also call the photographer for the pictures, but it might be that they don't call the photographer. It might just be that everybody agrees that these pictures are admissible, right? Now, what is this guy testifying about extensively? Like hours of testimony from. This is a good point. No objection from the defense. Defense is not objecting a lot. And you will see that is, I am certain, an intentional trial strategy from the defense is that they are saving their objections because they want to look to the jury like, we're not trying to keep you guys from hearing anything. We want you to hear as much of the story as, and so they're saving their objections. They're limiting their objections. And I think it's not a bad strategy, right? Although the other thing you do have to remember is jurors do actually want to see objections. They do actually want to see the lawyers fight. So yeah. But I think the defense so far has been doing well on that. So what this guy is being brought in to testify about is where the bullet casings land, right? Where all the cases are. And so basically what it is that this guy is walking up this side of the wall and shooting into the windows, right? And so they're trying to establish where exactly the shooter is, because this is the key moment in the prosecution's mind when Gonzales should have stopped him. Because at this point where they've got this here, right, you can see the door up in the distance. Gonzales is like around the corner, and they're saying he should have come out and he should have shot at the guy while he's out here and kept him from going into the school. And that if Gonzales had done that, then the kids would be alive. And, so that's what the prosecution is establishing here, is being like, did you see the rifle brass along the way? And further, did you see any handgun brass? Did you see Gonzales? Did Gonzales appear to have shot at this guy? No.
Walkway or that whole area there is fairly unobstructed. Is that correct?
Unobstructed as in
I mean, there's
obstacles?
no trees.
No, you're correct. Yes.
It's a wide open space.
Yes.
Until you get down to the very end.
Yes.
Okay. And do you see any of y'all's red flags there?
Yes.
Would you point those out?
You see one right here. There's one right there, there, and there.
Okay. Thank you. And State's Exhibit 89.
Yes.
Would you tell us what we're looking at there?
This is a more medium range shot. So now you see a little more detail. There's a backpack. There's a number 1 placard. So when we do our search, we find what we believe it's evidence. We put a flag to note the location. When we come back later, we start assigning evidence item numbers to it to differentiate it from everything else. So in this particular instance, the number 1 was assigned to the backpack.
And how do you decide which number gets what piece of evidence?
It's sequential. As we go along, as we see, and we start documenting each item, we lay the numbers down in sequence.
So the way that works, if you're wondering how they figure that out, those little plastic pieces that they set down with the number on it, those little plastic pieces are done from like 1 to 100. Like they come in a stack that is ordered, right? And so the way you ended up with it being sequential is you just take the one off the top and it's number 1. You take the one off the next one, it's number 2. That's how they get to sequential, right? So yeah. Skisi saying, I'm on replay crew again tonight, but I wanted to comment anyway to support the channel. I only know 25 letters though. I don't know why. Lol. So yeah.
And to be clear on sequence, we're not talking about when a shot was fired. We're talking about as a sequence when y'all found the casing.
It's not when we find the casing, it's when we start picking up the casing or the evidence. Because as we're doing the search, we could find a whole bunch of evidence and we start placing the flags. As soon as we start collecting, the first item we collect gets the number 1, and everything after that is in sequence.
So if you catch that, they go through everything they see that might be evidence, they throw a flag on, right? And then later they go back with the evidence team, and each thing they pick up, they put down a number on, right? So that it's important, it's methodical, it's all of that. So yeah.
Okay. And State's Exhibit number 90. Could you tell us about that exhibit?
It's the same shot except a little bit closer.
And what are we looking at as Exhibit 1?
It's a backpack.
And in general terms, what was the condition of the backpack?
It was on the ground, open with the pockets open.
State's Exhibit 91.
Okay.
Would you describe State's Exhibit 91?
You see the backpack is open, but you also see. Can I get up?
Yes, sir, please.
There's also a magazine with you can see a bullet at the top of the magazine.
Thank you.
So a charged magazine. So this provides a pretty clear indication as to who this backpack belongs to, right? Because who else would have the thing there? So yeah.
And State's Exhibit 92.
This is. Oh,
go ahead.
I apologize. So this is inside the interior of the backpack. So you can see additional magazines with bullets in them.
So in general terms, this backpack was full of magazines with bullets in them?
That's correct.
And Exhibit 93.
Okay.
Would you tell us about that?
So now we're moving on to the next item of evidence. So you see a number 2 marker, and that's what we collected after that backpack.
And as we close up on it, does that show you what the marker is marking?
Yes.
And what was that marker marking?
There's a casing there.
And State's Exhibit 95, does that show a close-up?
All right, so they're going to go through a lot of casings. We don't need to go through all the casings because holy crap, there's so many casings. All right, so let's come back to, I think.
Have been passed for cross-examination, so you may proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Adrian.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Great.
Good. My name's Gary Hillier. We've not met before.
No.
You know that I'm one of the attorneys here representing Adrian.
Now, I'm wondering if it's Hillier's laptop that's got the Sig Sauer, because Hillier is the guy who they bring out every time there's a gun issue. It's Hillier who's up there, it seems, and Hillier knows his gun stuff, right? Hillier is and it's weird because he's got the British accent, and for a British accented guy to know guns, I'm like, is he like SAS? Like, what's the deal there?
Yes.
And you've testified before, right?
Yes.
Probably a lot of times.
Yes.
So you know that I have to ask you some questions.
Sure.
There are no trick questions. So if I tend to speak fast sometimes, if I am, please just say, hey, Gary, slow down, and I'll repeat my question.
Thank you.
Fair enough? Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
this is a very friendly way to begin cross. They've been doing this with every witness, and I like it, and I'm going to steal it. So, yoink.
I want to go back to the beginning, right, of your testimony. So you said that. So are you still in the San Antonio field office?
Yes.
With the FBI.
Correct.
Right. And at the time you were doing a role, but your auxiliary role was evidence response.
Yes.
An evidence response team for the FBI.
That's correct.
And is that your current role still?
Yes, not so much anymore because I've been really busy.
Right.
But I'm still a member of the team. Yes.
And you were the team lead back then.
I was the acting because our original team leader was out of the office at the time.
Acting team lead.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll talk about that in a minute. And before that, I think you said that you were a crime lab analyst for the Department of Public Safety.
Correct.
Was that at the lab in Austin?
No, it was a lab here in Corpus, actually.
Oh, so you worked down in Corpus?
Yes.
And I think that you said that your primary focus when you were doing that in Corpus was DNA analysis.
Correct.
And kind of that, I guess that kind of dovetails into one of your auxiliary roles now was the evidence collection.
Correct. Yes.
And it must inform how you go about your role now.
Correct.
Yeah. But let's talk about your time with your FBI forensics. So you said that you obviously went through the academy to become an agent.
Correct.
And then you had additional training. Is that fair to say in the crime scene investigation?
Yes.
Did I hear correctly? You said it was a 2-week class?
It starts with 2 weeks to get certified, and then throughout the years you'll get ongoing, education.
Right.
But yeah, it starts with 2 weeks.
It's a 2-week course. Okay, we're getting into Trooper Paul, but this guy is better than Trooper Paul. All right, we'll jump ahead a bit here because, yeah.
We can look at it. I think one of the state's photographs introduced, you can see this as some inclement weather. So like, yeah, normally that would inform how urgent you are with recovering stuff, but you're doing outside, right?
We were just doing the outside, that's correct.
And so the DNA thing, despite the DNA thing, the shell casings can reveal other things. And may I approach the witness?
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to use states very briefly. I think it's demonstrative 2. Again, bring this over. Because, so I know you want to explain that, and I think it states 19. What is it? Is it not? Yeah, 19's shell casings, right? And these are the ones you recover from the scene.
Correct.
Without going into the packets. And the shell casing, the jury's heard evidence about this before, is just the cartridge. That's the shell casing.
Yes.
Right? The projectile gets shot out the barrel, and this cartridge gets ejected out of the weapon.
That's correct.
Right? And so, and I think the testimony earlier was that when a weapon recycles, or a firearm is fired, the firearm pin goes forward, strikes the primer.
Yes.
Right? Very fast burn, some people call it an explosion, happens, and the projectile gets fired out the barrel.
So that little distinction where he's like a very fast burn happens, some people call it an explosion, is I look at that and I'm like, that is a small flex. And what I mean by it, or rather, it's a subtle flex. And most people aren't necessarily going to notice this, but this is one of the ways that if you know what you're talking about, you can signal it to a witness. And the witness will either clue in or they won't. But the smart ones will. And the thing is that gunpowder doesn't technically explode. It does what's called deflagration, which means that it doesn't quite reach the point where it explodes, which is basically as, you know, I think if I'm recalling correctly, the technical definition of an explosion is basically that it is burning faster than the speed of sound and actually generates a, you know, like an impact with brisance. But this is instead, and so this is a very technical distinction, right? This is a very, it was a very like minor, it's a very sort of, but somebody who knows what they're talking about will recognize that you just made the technical distinction and will read that in and be like, oh, right, this guy actually knows what he's talking about, as opposed to like, you know, when people don't know what they're talking about, you're like, right? So I hear that and I'm like, okay, this guy's at least done some research.
Correct, right? Because of the action of the weapon, it recycles, and the bolt action of the rifle or the weapon brings this cartridge back and it gets ejected out of the weapon.
Correct.
And like you said, we know that with a long weapon, it's to the right-hand side.
Yes.
And it can, how far that projectile or that spent casing can be thrown is.
It's not always to the right-hand side. It was to the right-hand side with the particular rifle in this case. Now, why does a rifle eject, or why do most rifles eject to the right-hand side? Well, most rifles have right-hand eject because most shooters are right-handed. And let me demonstrate with the ouchie stick to show you why this matters. So we're going to use the ouchie stick and we're going to pretend the ouchie stick. We're going to do this very carefully. We're going to pretend it's a rifle. And I'm going to try to do this without cutting myself, but yeah. So you've got a rifle, right? Here's your rifle. We've got our ouchie stick. It's going to be our rifle. And it ejects out the right side and backwards, right? Cool. Now let's imagine that I take my right hand eject and I switch it over to my left side, right? Well, now it ejects out the right hand side and backwards. Plunk, plunk, Putunk, into my face. Not ideal, right? Not ideal. And so when you have guns that are designed for left-handed shooters, they eject typically out the left. There are some exceptions. There are exceptions. There are rare guns that eject downwards. There's rare guns that eject forward or upwards. And so I used to I used to shoot, back before they banned it here in Canada, a Tavor. Now, most guns, the ejection port is up like here, right? You can see sort of way away from the face. The Tavor is a bullpup, so the ejection port is back here. And so in one stage in a shooting competition I was doing, the shooting competition required that you shoot from this side. And it was feeding brass directly into my face. And so I ended up going to court, and I had a bunch of like circular burn marks from where it was ejecting the hot brass right into my chin and around my mouth. And so I went into court, and these circular burn marks were super visible because they all turned bright red. And I had a judge ask me, "Mr. Runkle, are you okay? You've got some marks on your face." And I said, "Oh, that's those are from shooting, sir." And he said, "I don't have any further questions, Mr. Runkle. Let's keep going." So yeah, the reason why they usually eject out to the right is because most shooters are right-handed. Did I win the competition? Oh God, no. I came like middle of the road. I am not a competition winner. Like, I am not. Yeah.
Can depend on a couple of things.
Yes, like where it ends up could depend on a lot of different
Depend
things.
on a lot of things. And so, and what I'm saying is you can find evidence on this casing of tool mark. You're familiar with tool mark analysis, right?
Yes.
And so one of those things is the marking. Tool mark analysis, you'd agree, is the markings that are left on, in this instance, the casing by the metal inside that weapon.
Okay,
Right?
so roughly speaking, yes.
Without getting too deep into the science.
Yes.
And you see he cuts him off because he knows he's oversimplifying. And the FBI guy's like, "Let me explain." And he's like, no. There is too much. Sum up. I also see people in the chat talking about the cleavage thing. So, women out there of the internet who might want to try guns. Every time I bring a new shooter who's a woman, I give guys a similar thing. I say, like, make sure you wear a shirt that is like closed neck, but especially with women, I'm like, you've got to wear like a closed up shirt. Please do not wear a cleavagey shirt. And the reason why is because, like, let's say you fire the round. So, here's a 223 round. All of this brass is full of powder. And so the projectile goes flying. The brass is hot because that powder burns very fast and it heats the brass. And the casing, they end up all over the place, right? They end up in all sorts of different places. And if the casing goes down the chest, I see people saying I'm having some buffering problems. Let me just try to fix that. I'm going to switch my connection a bit. All right. Hopefully that'll help. If it's my connection, hopefully this will fix it. I don't know. But the hot brass can go down the cleavage and it can burn. And the thing is, with newbies, I want to give them that warning. Because what happens when you've got a new shooter? Well, they're sitting there and they're, they're holding onto a gun. What's a good gun? Okay, here's a good, not a gun, but they're holding onto the gun and they shoot. Hot brass ends up in a very sensitive place and they go, ah, ah, and they wave their hands around and they whatever. And I don't want that because I might be the person they're waving that gun at. So if you're going out to shoot for the first time, make sure all of this is done up. Because I've had hot brass go down my back and it sucks. And it really sucks when you have to take the gun and put it down carefully and then go panicking out to get the brass. Because, yeah. So, anyway, carrying on here.
Because there'll be the firing pin will leave an individual characteristic.
Indentation on the primer.
Because each firing, it's like a fingerprint for a weapon.
God, I hate that. I mean, he's the defense lawyer right now, and like there is no matching issue, so we can do this. But I'm like, oh my God, no, it's not like a fingerprint.
Kind of. Not so much with the firing pin, but
totality.
Yes, yes.
Because the firing pin will some weapons they'll fire and strike in the same place, and also you'll find some markings that are similar on the cartridge from where the round is getting stripped and spent and shot out of the weapon by the ejector claw or pin.
You could, yes.
And that will, so depending on the configuration of that weapon is one of the factors when how far and where that spent cartridge goes, right?
Sure.
Right. And
so the ejector that they're talking about is in a semi-automatic firearm. After you shoot, it cycles, and the cycling process is that it pulls the empty case out, and then the ejector, the ejector pulls it out, and then it's kind of flicked away. It's kicked away from the gun. And what they're getting at here, where he's going, and I'm not going to watch his entire cross on this point, but where he's going is basically like the ejector is not super predictable. So if you go and you, if you're sitting there and you're shooting from a fixed point, you'll find kind of a circle of brass in a particular area, but you'll also find brass all over the place, right? You'll find brass that kind of scatters. And sometimes that's because the brass, hits the concrete and rolls, or hits the concrete and bounces, or maybe just gets kicked out weird, right? It just, or maybe it barely gets kicked out at all and ends up dropping near your feet. So this comes up in cases where it becomes extremely important where somebody fired from. And so as an example, I had a case where this was a hunting case, and hunting law basically says you have to be X far away from a road. So the question is did my client take the shot from far enough away from the road to be legal, or was he too close? And their evidence was where the brass was. And they said, oh, the brass was too close to the road, therefore he must have taken the shot from too close to the road. And it's like, no, it ejects in a distance. And so what the defense is going here, the defense is saying, look, we don't know that the brass exactly places the shooter at any given time, because the brass can fly, the brass can roll, the brass can bounce, brass can, grow wings, and maybe not that one. But so they are basically saying that this theory of where exactly the shooter was from the brass can't actually be lined up, right? So that's where he's going with this. That's what he's trying to get to.
I mean, like I said, there's lots of variables that can affect that. And I guess certain batches of ammunition can be different from others, right? And so,
Sure.
And that can affect how far a spent cartridge goes, right?
Yes.
But when it comes down to it,
If you've got a hotter load, like where it's actually got more powder in it, it'll tend to go further because it's moving faster.
you testified that, case location is mostly an educated guess. Would you agree with that?
Depending, yeah, because there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, because of the variables.
Yeah.
And I should say where the case comes to rest is mostly a guess.
It's like an approximation. It's kind of like an educated guess, right?
An educated guess. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's what you said. I'm just using your testimony. You said you can get.
By the way, if you're wondering what that background noise is, somebody has decided to fry a steak right next to the mic. So
Guess how aware the shooter is.
Educated guess.
Educated. Well, I agree with you. An educated guess. And it would depend on lots of factors, like you said.
Sure.
If you're standing on
that
concrete
steak
and
is
around
going to
it
be so good.
gets Spelled, the cartridge gets spelled. It can bounce.
It can bounce.
It can spin.
Sure.
And it will move.
Sure.
Right. And if you're firing on grass, maybe it will stand still. It'll just drop and sit still.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Right. And it's a guess. But you'd agree with me that the grouping of where these rounds end up, when I say rounds, I should say casings. A specific grouping of casings on the ground or on the floor is an indication, the best indication we've got of where the shooter was at the time.
That's a good indicator because it's consistent that, okay, why are all these in the same kind of location?
Yep.
So the defense has a very clear timeline of where the shots were. And so they need to pin that down, right? They need to basically say this guy isn't critically, like the critical thing is that the guy isn't where Gonzales is. That's the critical element. So, all right. Let's go on to the next witness here, because that's really what this guy is about casings and where they land. So on to the next witness.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand for me, please? You do solemnly swear the evidence and testimony you're giving this call is the truth, so help you God. You have a seat over here. Make the microphone comfortable for you and speak up so everybody can hear you.
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Deming. I said your name, but please state your full name for the record.
Lynn Deming,
And Ms. Deming, where are you currently employed?
Legacy Elementary.
Okay. And what is your job position?
I'm a STEM teacher, 3 through 5th grade.
And what is Legacy?
It's the new campus, formerly Rob, so it's the new campus.
For which school?
So they built a new school and they renamed it because bad vibes. By the way, this teacher is one of my favorite humans on the planet, and you'll see why.
District.
Uvalde, CISD.
Okay. In May of 2022, where were you employed?
Rob Elementary as a 4th grade teacher.
And what camp? You said Rob Elementary. Okay. And how long had you been working at Rob Elementary?
At that time, I think 6 years.
Okay. And what grades were you teaching?
4th grade.
And how long had you been an employee of the Uvalde Independent School District?
6 years.
Okay. What was your room number at the time of May of 2022?
104.
Okay. And I'm going to, Judge, may the witness get up and approach the board?
Yes.
Is that low point? Is that low point? I'm going to ask you to show the jury on this board. This is a map of Robb Elementary. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you show the jury where on this map is the 4th grade building?
This building, ma'am.
Okay. And where on this building on this map was your classroom?
Somewhere in this area.
Okay. Sounds good. You can have a seat. And again, what was that classroom number?
104.
104. Now, have you received training as to lockdown procedures?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you explain to the jury and for the record what those procedures were in May of 2022 for the Uvalde Independent School District?
Lights lock out of sight. So you lock lights out of sight. Sorry. So you lock your door. Be sure your door's locked. You turn your lights off and cover your windows, and you hide.
Okay. And who provided that training to you?
I don't. Admin. I'm sure. I don't necessarily remember exactly.
And was that the training, the same training that was provided to the students?
Yes.
Okay. And how often did you receive that training? Was it once a year, twice a year?
We had to do lockdown drills. I don't know how many times that's required.
Okay. So with regard to those lockdown trainings, you said lights out, lockdown, and what are the kids specifically trained to do?
Hide and get quiet. So depending on where your room was, depending on where you wanted your kids to hide and just get quiet.
Okay. Now you told us where your room was. Can you explain to the jury, when you walked into your classroom, what do we see? Where was your desk? Where were the windows? Things like that.
Directly walking into my classroom to the right, there was a long desk that was connected to the wall. And then my desk was at the corner, sort of in front of that, but it was long. Across, directly when you walked in, was a wall of 2 windows, basically, and I had bookshelves there. And then my students sat pretty much in dead center of the classroom.
Okay. Did you have covers on the windows?
There were blinds on the window. I usually kept them open just to get sunlight.
Okay. I'm going to take you back now to May 24th of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
What were your normal work hours on that day?
Just a regular school day, so 7:30 to 4.
Okay. And on that day, was there something specific going on, something special going on for the day?
The award ceremony was that day.
Okay. And what time was your award ceremony?
I don't remember specifically. It was before lunch.
Okay. And after the award ceremony, what did y'all do?
We went back to the classroom. It was sort of, a lot of students leave during award ceremony, after award ceremony. So you kind of just have sort of a fun day. I had set up stations for my students. So some of them were playing Legos. There were board games. We used Minecraft to do math, sort of math things. So I had some students playing Minecraft. And then I had like an art station where they could paint or draw.
Okay. Did y'all have plans to go outside?
We were going to go to recess about 10 minutes early. I had a student that left half a day. He only stayed at school half a day. So we were going to wait until he went and then go to recess about 10 minutes early.
Okay. And about approximately what time did you get your kids ready to go outside?
Probably around 11:20, somewhere in that vicinity. I don't know exactly.
And what were your instructions to your students regarding going outside?
They were going to line up and we were going to walk, just out to the playground where we normally went.
Okay.
So basically, this was going to be a fairly ordinary day. They're going to go out to the playground. Yeah, we're going to jump ahead a little bit here.
Walking outside the building?
No, I did not.
Okay. And did you see shots coming through the windows? Where were those shots going to?
I couldn't tell. Once he shot in the window was completely like blown, like just shattered, right? And it was like, I thought at the time it was smoke, but it was like very hazy in the classroom. And I didn't have my glasses, so because I had lost them, so which doesn't help.
Did you feel like the shots were coming from the ceiling or coming from up top?
Not at that point, no.
Okay. Did you at some point later think that?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you think that?
Because you could see ceiling tile like on the ground.
Okay. So again, you're in the room. You're trying to position yourself between the windows and your students. And what do you hear during this time?
I heard a couple shots on the outside of the building. It sounded like hammering on the building, and then I heard shooting in the hallway.
Okay. And were you trying to think of a possible escape or something that you could do?
At some point, I looked at the window because it was just shattered, and I thought we could get out, but somebody shot when we were walking out of the building. Then somebody shot through the window, and then I heard shooting in the hallway. So I thought it was more than one person. And I thought our only sort of savior was that he shot through the window and my kids were so quiet, they wouldn't know we were in there. So I thought if we just stayed quiet, they would think we weren't in there.
So as you were shot and you had shrapnel, you're trying to think of a plan and you're thinking of possible scenarios. Shooting here, shooting there, shooting there. What's my best plan? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And while you're
And so she is like actively trying to, she's once again like focused on saving the kids. in a way that like the police weren't. So
Thinking all this is going through your mind. What are you telling your students?
I was just telling them to pray. I told them I love them. And I just kept saying, like, babies, I love you. Just pray, I love you.
Okay.
I wanted to tell them it would be okay, but I wasn't sure. And I just wanted the last thing they heard was that somebody loved them. So I think I said it a million times. I just kept saying, I love you.
yeah, this is the part that kind of broke me a little earlier. So yeah.
Okay. At some point, did you think about your own children?
Yes. I messaged my husband and I said, somebody's shooting outside the window. I love you. I'm sorry. Tell the kids I'm sorry.
Explain to the jury why you felt that you had to say you were sorry to your own children.
I thought
And she's
I thought if
breaking up
I
too.
didn't make it, that my kids would just always think I chose my job over them.
Your job being what?
Teaching.
And protecting those students that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you eventually get out of your room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who got you out? Do you remember?
I don't necessarily remember. They looked through the window because it was, like shot out. And they had, I think just a short sleeve shirt and like a vest,
Okay.
And they asked, is anybody in here? And one of my students said something and I was scared because I didn't know if it was who it was. And I said, shh. And then they kind of peeked around and said, is anybody in here? And I said, yes. And so I just started lifting kids out of the window, and the people on the other side, I don't know if it was officers or border
Well, we
patrol
won't
or
have any
who,
hot tubs here, so
would help, help me pull the kids through the window.
Okay. Now, Ms. Deming, you said you're still teaching.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
grade? You said for
this part also kind of got me. This part is it really shows just what kind of person this is.
For the 2021, 2022, you taught fourth grade.
Yes, ma'am.
For the 2022, 2023 school year, what grade did you teach?
I moved campuses. I wanted to stay with the students. I wanted to move directly to fifth grade, but they didn't have a position. So I moved to sixth grade, but I got to be on the campus with my students.
And that was intentional?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the 2023, 2024 school year, what grade did you teach?
I taught fifth grade.
And again, that was?
I got to be with the students. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Going back to your students in that classroom on May 24th of 2022, what is your opinion of those students that were there with you?
They are the strongest, bravest people on this earth, on this whole earth.
And why is that? They
were just so brave. They did everything perfect that day. And I just am so thankful I got to be a tiny part of their life.
Pass the witness.
So she was like, I want to stay with these kids. These kids have been through a lot. I want to, and I'm like, wow. I was at the Atlanta CDC during that shooting. You think you know how you'll act in that situation until it happens. My heart breaks for her. The thing is that all of these teachers that they've called up have, all of these teachers have really, they stepped up. But all of the, none of these teachers have anything to say about Mr. Gonzales because they didn't see Mr. Gonzales. And so this is really, and I mean, I don't know what other term to use, but this is really kind of the prosecution dropping like trauma porn on the jurors, and in the hopes that they will convict because they're so angry, and in some ways that they're comparing the comparing Gonzales to these teachers, but that's not the standard. The standard isn't that you have to be, to avoid criminal prosecution, isn't that you have to be a hero. So, yeah.
Please. Ms. Denning, is pronounced Denning?
Yes, yes, sir.
Could you please spell it?
And so now this is going to be another gentle cross. We'll see that.
DEMING.
And the only reason I ask you that is because, you know, that as you probably know, there's been a lot of reports generated and written about this. And they kind of consistently spelled your name as Daring in the
Yes.
reports. Is that common or is that a maiden name? Or?
I am that or Deming with 2 M's, so it's pretty common.
Sure. Because I guess one M may look like 2 R's.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Jason Goss, and I represent Adrian. And you know, have you ever testified before?
Not like this. No, sir.
Sure. And you know, a lot of people may expect that when it comes over here that we're going to be being to you or disrespectful. And I just want you to know we're not. I mean, honestly, what you did with those kids, I admire it. And you said you were lucky to be a part of their lives. I think that they were lucky to have you, right? Because, and I want to start with that training. The training that you're talking about, that's a training that's given to teachers and given to students to say, look, if something like this ever happens, you get in a room, you turn off all the lights, you be quiet, try to block the door like you were, as best that you could. And really try to make it seem like nobody's in the room, right?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, that's kind of what you were saying too. You're like, at the time that you think multiple people are coming in, you're saying, please, just hopefully they think nobody's here, right?
Yes, sir.
And those trainings, and it's important. You know, I think the reason that they have that is because it's been shown that it can save lives. Because potential shooters or people wishing to do you and the children harm will pass you up, right? And so, one of the things you said, because I mean, you can't imagine how hard it would have been for your kids to stay that quiet for that long with that going on, right? But
Yes,
they
sir.
did.
Yes, sir.
So.
And like he's talking up the teacher, he's talking up her response, he's talking up the kids. He's building a rapport with the witness, which is really important, right? So yeah. Howdy, howdy. Howdy. And yeah.
As far as that training though, I think the prosecutor asked you who gave the training.
What they've charged is child endangerment. But it's basically cowardice because they're saying he endangered the children by failing to engage the shooter. So maybe because I'm not from the US, but how is cowardice a chargeable offense? I'm so confused. And what about the cops who allegedly waited? Yep, this is the allegation is child endangerment.
And you said you thought it was like administration or the school. Were these civilians or were these people in like police officers that gave the training?
I honestly, I don't remember specifically.
Okay. Do you ever remember, because I'm sure you've had a few of them, do you ever remember just in any of these kind of trainings, police officers being present at the trainings, or is it typically like school administrators or principals or vice principals or other people who come in as, you know, I guess?
Sometimes campus police might be there, but I want to say normally it's just our administration.
Sure. And at Robb Elementary at the time that you were working there, you were aware, and we've heard it from others, but you were aware that there was not a police officer actually assigned to that campus.
Yes, sir.
And so I guess the way that they handled Robb, as far as the school district did, is that there would be police officers assigned to the high school, and then they would come, I guess, periodically at some times to check up on the elementary school. Is that
You
how
do
you
your
understood it?
best.
I only remember one officer ever coming to our campus.
Okay,
Not necessarily one time, but I only
Sure.
remember one ever coming, you know, sporadically.
sure. And for whatever funding or whatever else, it's we don't necessarily know why, but the part of, because you were there for a few years, 6 years.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, sure, 5 or 6. Was ever part of it when the officer would come? Was there ever any situation as a teacher where other teachers would get, not in trouble necessarily, but reprimanded for not having their doors locked? Do you remember any kind of time that had occurred?
I never did. If another teacher did, I wouldn't know.
Right. Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting that you had been, but I guess the idea would be that, you know, maybe, was there ever a situation where teachers would text each other saying, hey, the police officer's going to come, make sure everybody's door's locked or anything like that? Did you ever get any communications?
No, sir.
Okay. Were you ever aware of the school issuing magnets that teachers would put on the door that would defeat like basically so the door wouldn't lock? It's like a magnet that'll go over the metal part of the plate, and then the door wouldn't be able to be locked.
I don't remember the school issuing magnets. I know some teachers had magnets, but I don't necessarily remember the school giving us magnets.
Right. Okay. And
So the distinction there is there were lots of magnets, but and part of what he's pointing out here is, well, it's chaos. And also this guy was a school resource officer, but he wasn't the school resource officer for this school. And so he would have known that there's locks and so forth, but he wouldn't have known the common practice of blocking those doors open. So, so they're saying like, it's not unreasonable for him to wait a minute because he doesn't know that this guy's going to get into the school. As far as he knows, this guy is prevented from getting in the school. As far as he knows, this, there's a locked door between him and anything. And so maybe it's not an unreasonable move, right? That's the defense's argument here.
And you yourself were never handed like a magnet?
No, sir.
Said, Ms. Deming, go, use this when you don't want to lock the door?
No, sir.
What about when you had substitutes or something? Was that when magnets were commonly used because they didn't have keys?
I didn't really have subs. I was one of those teachers.
Right.
So I'm honestly not sure.
Okay. No, then that's fair. I appreciate you answering. The coach, I guess you said that as you were taking your kids out to recess, that the coach would, one of your students informed you that a coach was yelling.
Yes, sir.
Do you know which coach that was yelling?
At the time, they just said coach, so I thought Coach Gonzales, but I do not know which coach was yelling.
And I guess, did you ever, because this I pictured, Your Honor, can I get in the well for a second?
Yes.
Thank you. I pictured it kind of like you're going out, you guys are going out, you're trying to lead your class out of that door there.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I picture it like you're going to lead them out. One kid leaves a water bottle. And so now you're going, okay, you go
Yes.
here and you go here.
Yes, sir.
And you're kind of in the hallway. One comes back in and says, hey, coach is yelling. Did you ever make it out to see like what was happening? So
No,
you kind of stayed in that middle ground right
Yes,
there
sir.
between the student going back and the students going out.
Yes, sir.
And then told them all, get back in here. Okay. When you heard what you thought sounded like fireworks.
Yes, sir.
I guess one of the things that you said was, that I guess y'all were planning on doing recess a little early.
Yes, sir.
Was there any reason for that?
It was just fun.
Yeah. A cool teacher
was
brings
just-
kids out to recess early, but like, I know we've heard other testimonies and you said yourself, it was a special day. And did any of your kids go home after the ceremony or did they all stay with you?
I had about 4 students that went home after the ceremony.
And was that been a typical and common?
It's really tragic that this was like this special day that everybody's supposed to really enjoy and whatever else. And then it ends up in this horrible tragedy. So
Common thing.
No, most of my kids wanted to stay with me. A lot of classes had way less students.
After listening to your testimony, I can understand why. But I guess the idea is,
a lot of the other classes had way less students. Most of my students stayed with me. And he says, after listening to your testimony, I can understand why. It's because the kids love her. She is an awesome teacher. And the defense lawyer is like, I get it. You rock.
did you know that it was common maybe for, I guess in your school at the time, was it just generally known that, hey, after awards, your parents want to take you to go eat pizza and go to Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, that you can do that. And, we're not counting you absent and we're not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so in these kind of special end of the year days like that, there may have been less kids at the school, thankfully, for that
Yes, sir.
reason.
Yes, sir.
But that wouldn't have been an everyday thing. I mean, parents can't pick them up half day.
No, sir.
Right. Okay. So would you agree? So I don't know. I mean, you were obviously going through, one of the most traumatic things anybody can go through, right, at the time. So I don't know if you know what this looked like, but when you had the lights out and when you had your students down and when they're all being very quiet and very brave, would you agree that it would appear as if your classroom was empty?
I thought, yes, sir.
Right, because that was the purpose.
That was
is
the
to make
hope,
it look
right?
like nobody's in there.
They want to make it look like an empty room so that the guy doesn't try to get in there and doesn't try to, doesn't try to shoot through the door or anything like that, that he just leaves. So.
You said when they finally got you out, They get you out through the window, and the window's in the back.
Yes, sir.
And you and the students, and you're helping bring down the students. And those were officers that were helping you guys get out, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you know at the time that the monster who had hurt the kids in 111 and 112 was dead?
No, I did not.
Did you know if he was alive?
No.
Okay, so did the officers who were getting you out have a sense of urgency about getting you to safety and the children?
They pulled us through the window and said, run.
Right. Suggesting that the threat is not over.
Exactly.
And so even though you may not know for sure, all the clues around it told you that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so you, I'm sure, and felt that you and the children were still in danger, and everybody around you were still in potential danger from whatever was going on.
Yes, sir.
Right. Did you know that one of those officers pulling the kids out of the windows over there was Adrian?
I didn't remember anybody. I mean, I knew people were pulling us out. I did not know who it was.
Right. And so you would agree that those officers that were doing that in your room and the rooms next to it, because the other rooms were getting pulled out too, right? Like down that row, they're pulling the kids out and the teachers who were in those rooms.
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree that those officers were doing a good thing.
I was thankful.
Right. And Adrian, as part of those officers, would have been doing a good thing trying to evacuate the kids and the teachers out from further danger.
Yes, sir.
You just catch what he did there? Adrian was one of them. And so they're actually putting Adrian onto Team Hero here.
I'll pass it with
No other questions, Your Honor?
Recall?
No recall from the state.
Oh, Judge, no, we don't need her subject to recall.
You're excused. Thank you very much. Not subject to recall.
So, yep. And then we've got the next witness.
Witness, stand over here, make yourself comfortable, and adjust the microphone if you need to.
Sorry, Elf Wiggins. Good night.
You proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please state your name for the record.
Nicole Ogburn.
Ms. Ogburn, where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed with Uvalde CISD.
And what is your current job position?
Right now, I am a resource teacher.
In May of 2022, where were you employed?
I was employed with Uvalde CISD.
And what was your job position in May of 2022?
I was a co-teacher.
And what does that mean, a co-teacher?
You have a general education teacher and a special education teacher in a classroom. So I was the SPED teacher that was in the classroom in 102.
And who did you co-teach with?
Mrs. Alvarado.
Okay. And what campus did you work at?
Robb Elementary.
And how long had you been working at Robb Elementary as of May of 2022?
About 8 years.
And what grade were you teaching at the time?
4th grade.
Now, what room number was your room?
It was room 102.
Okay. I'm going to hand you a pointer, and if you would come. May the witness get up, Judge?
Please.
Ms. Ogburn, I'm going to give you this pointer. I'm going to ask you, here we have a board that's going to introduce into evidence as an aerial view of Robb Elementary. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and here we have the campus right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you this pointer, and if you would show the jury where your classroom was, 102.
102 is right here in this corner.
That corner, the
Yes,
south
the
end
south end, yes.
of the building. Okay, thank you. Now, did you begin the year at Robb in the 2021-2022 school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for the jury and for the record, the record from the court, can you explain to the jury what is a lockdown procedure?
Lockdown procedure was lights out, windows covered, and you hide in a corner that you can't be seen from the window that's at the door.
Okay. And you had received this training as a teacher for the Uvalde Independent School District?
It was spoken to us about, like, every year they kind of briefly go over what the procedures were, but it had always been shut your window, turn your lights off, make sure your door's locked, and hide in a corner that is not visible to the windows.
And is that the same training that the students received?
Yes.
Okay. And how often were you trained on this? You said they mentioned it, or?
Well, we did a training for teachers. Usually they would mention it during our PD days before school started. And then throughout the year, we'd have lockdown drills and fire drills and all, practice all the drills that we had.
And who would provide the training to the students?
Usually it was just our staff at Robb that would go back over it, or actually us that would train. I'm sorry, didn't realize you said students, but usually us. So we would, before a lockdown practice drill, we would tell them, okay, we're going to have a lockdown practice drill. This is what we're going to do.
myself and Miss Alvarado, we talked, I remember talking to him about it, and we were like, we are just going to shut the window, the shade on the window that we had. We are going to turn off lights, and y'all are to file over here into the corner by Miss Alvarado's desk.
Okay, now you said in the corner. Let's go back a little bit. Can you explain to the jury, when you walk into your classroom, what was the layout? What would you see?
So when you walked in our door, you walked in on the left side. We had a cubby.
We're going to jump
kind of
ahead a little bit
walking.
here.
So at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I was the first person to see this guy? I've got to notify somebody. I didn't know who had seen him or not. So I had my Apple Watch on.
I got the timestamp right. I just a little too close. Okay, let's.
After I got under the curtain, I was laying on my stomach, and he crawled onto my back and laid across me and rubbed my arm and telling me, Miss Ogburn, it's going to be okay.
So that was a student who was basically trying to comfort her. Oh my God. But we need something a little funnier to talk about here because it's getting pretty dark.
Okay. So what did you do after you crawled underneath the table and with the kids?
At that point, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I was the first person to see this guy? I've got to notify somebody. I didn't know who had seen him or not. So I had my Apple Watch on, and I dialed 911 from it. And I did that twice, and my calls were dropped. And I think it was on my third try that it finally went through.
If Apple doesn't track this woman down and send her a brand new watch, then I don't know what they're doing, because he's like, I used my Apple Watch. Let me show you the watch and let me name drop it. I know she's not like sponsored. This is a natural thing, but it comes off a little bit like the influencer going, look at the. So I thought that was funny at the time. It is a very, like, today the prosecution is just hitting us with all the sad stories. And so that was the thing that kind of made me laugh a little bit. And I was like, all right, at least we got something we can smile about. So, yeah.
And 911 operator was asking me where I was and who. I don't even recall telling her my name. I just said, I'm a teacher at Robb Elementary. There's an active shooter in our building. I'm in room 102, the new building at Robb. And she said, stay on the line with me. And I told her I couldn't, because if he heard me, he was going to come in our room and shoot us. And I just hung up the phone. I didn't wait for her to say anything else.
Okay. Do you remember if you told her that somebody had been shot, or did you get?
Oh, yes, I did. I remember. I had also told her that Miss Avila, I didn't mention her name, but I said another teacher across the hall from me, because I couldn't remember her room number, had been shot and had sent a message in one of our group chats from like several years back. We had a math Google chat, and I guess that was the first one she opened, and she sent a thing saying she had been shot.
Now, where is Miss Avila's room in relation to your room?
Her room was just like diagonal from my room. There was one room across from me, and then hers was the next one over across the hall.
Okay. Now, you said you call 911.
Yes.
Okay. And you would recognize your voice on that tape, right?
Yes, I would.
The state would. Okay. The state offers exhibit number 10 into evidence, which is the 911 recording of Ms. Ogburn. The state would publish that 911 recording to the jury.
Please.
Somebody shot in the classroom. Okay, can you tell me the teacher is talking? I'm sorry, what? Another classroom. I don't know. Please tell me. Can I what room number? What room number? Can you tell me what room? Room number 2. I don't even get it. I don't know what that was. I can't let me hear me. Okay, so it's okay. I understand. Okay.
I want to be real specific about why you hung up and why you told her, I can't let him hear me. What was your thoughts about that?
Because I really thought he was still in the hallway. I had heard a door kind of shut, and I thought it was him coming in that south door, so I was scared he was right outside. And he was going to come into our room, and I didn't want him to hear me.
Okay. And that's part of your training?
Yes.
Were you eventually evacuated, Ms. Osborne?
Yes. Eventually, I don't know what law enforcement.
All right, let's skip ahead here to Cross, I think. Because, yeah.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
Just for me.
Okay.
I can hold you right back. Can I do this close to you?
Yes.
So you're 102. Where is
Also, this one 109.
109.
Yes.
Now, not a single one of these witnesses really, like, there's nothing about Mr. Gonzales and what he did that we've heard so far. So I'm hoping the prosecution's going to get to the point eventually.
Do you want to introduce it, or? Let me just see it.
I've got another one.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I'm good. What do you need to do?
My first witness, Judge?
Yes, sir.
I'm hearing you with the mark as Defense Exhibit 1 for identification only. You recognize Defense 1, correct?
Yes.
This is kind of a diagram of Robb Elementary.
This is a diagram of just the new building or the newer building at Robb Elementary.
And
Yes.
the new building is really the newer building,
The
right?
newer, it's not that new, but yes.
And 102 is where you were at?
Yes, right here.
And then 109 is where Ms. Avila was?
Yes, just,
And is this diagram a fair and accurate depiction of the newer building?
yes.
Judge, I move Defense 1 into evidence.
No objection.
Submitted.
Can I publish to the jury?
Yes.
And so, at some point, the government asked you that your class was evacuated.
Yes.
Do you recall what agencies evacuated you from the window?
I do not. There were people dressed in, I didn't see faces. I saw uniforms and people still dressed in like their everyday clothes with tactical over it. But so I don't know all the agencies that were there.
But there were officers getting the kids out.
Yes, there were officers getting the kids out.
And do you know now that Adrian was one of those officers?
No, I still do not. I did not know that.
Okay. Well, I think you're a woman of honor to go last. Thank you. That's the witness, Judge.
Did you see that? That was the big moment on Cross. You know how you were talking about the awesome rescuers? Did you know that was Mr. Gonzales who showed up to do that? Great work on that one from the defense. Great work. Because if the prosecution is just going to play emotion witnesses, defense gets to play that game too. No objection at all to that one. I thought they did very well, and yeah.
Pretty noble profession, and just kind of went that direction.
Dangerous profession?
I'm sorry?
Is it a dangerous profession?
It certainly can be.
That didn't stop you from being in law enforcement?
No.
And on May 24, 2022, where were you assigned?
I was assigned in Bernie, Texas.
And where's that?
So this is a Texas Ranger. He's like, yep, I wanted to go into law enforcement. I became a Texas Ranger.
Bernie is a suburb on the northwest side of San Antonio.
I'm also just going to say it is a vibe that this guy's got his cowboy hat there, and that he's got that's not a cheap cowboy hat. That's a nice cowboy hat. That is, that's, yeah.
And how far is that from Uvalde?
A couple hours.
Did you end up in Uvalde on that day or soon thereafter?
I did.
Tell us how that happened.
So I received a call from my lieutenant at the time who advised that there was a mass casualty incident in Uvalde, Texas. I'm a member
Fair.
of the state crime scene team for the Texas Ranger Division. And so my assignment at that time was to go to San Antonio from Bernie, pick up our crime scene trailer. It's a trailer that just has lots of crime scene supplies for working a big type of crime scene like that. So pick up that crime scene trailer and then drive to Uvalde.
And when did you get there?
I think I got there around 5 or 6 in the evening, a few hours after everything had happened.
All right, so we're gonna jump through. This
And
guy's
they
an
can
evidence.
go in a million
This guy's an evidence guy, right? So
in different directions depending on many circumstances.
And does it make a difference if a bullet is just a solid bullet or a hollow point or a jacketed bullet?
It would make some type of a difference. However, every one of those I've seen, they have fragmented before.
Okay, the fragment, that just means different pieces. Is that
Correct. They've come apart.
Okay. And so was your job then, well, first let me ask, did you see places or indications where a bullet had gone through a solid object?
Yes.
And tell us what that was.
So the last time I was in Texas, I met up with Kurt, and Kurt and I were hanging out. And so I was like, yeah, Kurt had a cowboy hat. And I was like, I should get a cowboy hat. And he's like, sir, you're in Texas. If you have ever wanted to get a cowboy hat, this is the place. And I was like, I went, you're not wrong. So Kurt and I went shopping. He took me to a place that does like nice cowboy hats. And I went and got a cowboy hat. And I love it to bits, even though I do look a bit ridiculous with it. But yeah.
There were many of them. Many of the bullets went through glass. Some of them had gone through the actual steel window frame. Once they perforated through the glass or the window frame, they came into the classroom and hit several other objects, whether it was desks, books, ceiling tiles, the wall on the opposite side of the room.
All right, maybe I do need to set a goal for this one. People are like, I need a hat reveal. All right, we'll set a goal. We'll set a goal for that. Yeah, we'll oh, I have no idea why it thinks all right, there we go.
Just anything in its path was could and did get hit.
Maybe I'll do goals, but less often.
Were you able to recover any of those fragments or solid bullets?
Yes.
And were there both, or the recovery of both, solid bullets as well as fragments?
Yes.
And in general terms, well, which rooms did you work on primarily?
I set a goal for the
rooms
hat.
That were on the west side of the building. I don't remember the room numbers right offhand. If you have a diagram, I can explain to the jury which ones those were.
I think this is probably a good time to do that. Tender, you photographed your work, did you not?
Yes.
And before coming here today, did you have a chance to review those photographs to determine if they're fair and accurate representations of your work?
Yes.
And were they?
Yes.
We tender exhibits at this point 23 through. Seems like it's too big. Yeah, yes. I'm gonna cut it off what it is. I'm sorry. 23 through 49 at this point.
You have a moment, Judge?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to jump ahead a little bit here.
The glass of that window.
And how many defects do you see?
Offhand, 3, 4.
Okay. And now I'm going to show you an exhibit that's already been introduced into evidence.
Oh, I know. The hat is part of the uniform. I get it.
96. Did you see that same drainage pipe in State's Exhibit 96?
I do.
And would you come to the middle of the jury and just kind of on a pivot show where the drainage ditch is and where the
drainage pipe?
That drainage pipe,
Okay.
excuse me.
So the drainage pipe is going to be right here.
I don't think
So
I
the
can do
window-
that. I
this
got to
window
respect
would
the
be
hat.
Over this in this direction from that drainage pipe.
Okay. And these, were you there when the yellow tents were marked to pull up the casings that were at this same location in front of 102?
I may or may not have been. I don't know. I did not mark those.
But if you move to the left of those casings, would that be right in front of that window?
Yes.
And then showing you Exhibit 112 while you're still up here. Is that a set of exhibits that are then further south of Exhibit 96?
Yes, this is going to be the same drainage pipe that we've been talking about in the previous photographs. It's just going to be a photograph taken from a little bit farther back.
Of a second set of exhibits, is that correct?
Correct.
And from where this photograph is taken, or these exhibits 12 and 13, is there anything between exhibits 12 and 13 and the window that you've been showing us?
The only thing I see are going to be some of these flag markers.
Okay, but is there anything between these flag markers and the window? In other words, I'm talking about this black car.
Oh, yes, there is a black car. There's this tree.
Leading as fuck, but the defense isn't going to object to it because they are on a minimal objection strategy. But he's like, is there anything else you see? I'm talking about the black car. It's like, all right, I guess we're just, we're not so much leading as like bodily dragging.
It is going to be in between that.
So if you're standing somewhere to the left of exhibits 12 and 13, would the black car be in front of window 102?
Yes.
Thank you. And that's the window we're talking about now.
Correct.
Thank you. Absolutely. And closing in, did you then, after taking a look at the outside of the glass windows, did you go inside 102?
Yes.
And is this a fair and accurate depiction of the inside of the classroom 102?
Yes.
Would you show us which window had the defects?
Yes, it's going to be the window to the left. The window to the right is covered with a curtain. The window to the left is open, and you can see the sun shining through it.
Thank you. And tell us what we're looking at in Stakes Exhibit 29.
This is going to be an inside view of the same window. You can see on the bottom where the window is shattered. You can see my evidence markers that are going to be on the bullet defects on the window. Our evidence markers are, in this case, they're little adhesive stickers. They have a scale on them. We can write on them with a marker or a pen, but they're sticky, they're adhesive. You can stick them to a surface so that we can take photographs of them and show it with a scale to show an accurate size.
Thank you. And then Stakes Exhibit 30?
That's going to be just a closer up view of the window.
And it shows the number of defects?
Yes.
And how many do you count?
Looks like 5.
Thank you. Stakes Exhibit 31.
It's going to be a photograph of the same window, going to be just standing a little further back from it, showing some of the items that were going to be in.
Can I just say how freaking awkward this is? Do you see what's in the box there? This aged very poorly. Because I feel like Bill Cosby's legacy has been slightly tarnished over time, and I mean, I have to laugh, but I really hope that book got burned. Like, I really, really hope that book, that, like, in the move from one campus to the other, that somebody just was like, and trash. Because, yeah, why do you have that book? Why?
Front of the window.
And were those items in that position when you came into 102?
Yes.
And were the items of significance to you in evidence collection?
Yes.
Tell us what the significance was.
Some of these items, some of these books, you can see where bullets or bullet fragments passed through these books, creating a bullet defect.
So what he's saying is you can see bullet holes in the books. And so, like, right here where you've got the B whatever, that's a bullet hole that went right through it. When you see like over here at the top left corner of the picture life of Bill Cosby, book's got a bullet hole through it. And yeah. Cobalt Koi Wolf says, I'm too broke to do $5. Then please don't. If you are broke, please do not donate. Like, this is a luxury spend, not a not a need spend. So yeah. Yeah, and you can see like the window is, yeah.
And specifically, is the book entitled Bill Cosby and then one behind it, the B?
Yes.
Showing you State's Exhibit 32. Is that a close-up of those books?
Yeah.
So you can see bullet hole. Oh, wait, that's actually a B. I thought that was a bullet hole. It's a B. So bullet fragments. And that's an A. Okay, the things I thought were bullet holes weren't because it was just a crappy picture. But yeah, you can see where there's defects there. Yeah.
And could you tell us what we're looking at or why you took that photograph?
That's just going to be bullet defects that came through the window and struck those books.
And where would you point those out for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor, can I approach again?
Yes, sir.
You're going to be right here on the top of this book. I have one here and one here.
And is State's Exhibit 33 a close-up of that?
Yes, it's going to be just another photograph of those bullet defects.
And State's Exhibit 34.
That's going to be another book showing another bullet defect passing through.
And I'll go back so we can get an idea. Do you see that same book in this exhibit?
I do. It's going to be this book that's directly behind. Going to be this orange colored book, and that is going to be the defect.
Okay.
That I was photographing.
And that's what we're showing in Exhibit 34. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, skipping ahead a little bit here.
And Exhibit 42. It keeps bouncing.
This is going to be another bullet defect with a flight path rod in it.
And the flight path rod is pointing in what direction?
It's going to be pointing, so it's indicating
Towards the
that
window.
the bullet came through the window going to the opposite side of the room in that direction, from the outside to the inside.
And here's the thing is because there were kids in there ducking down, he probably didn't have an angle to shoot at them, which, good on the teachers.
And State's Exhibit 43?
It's another photograph of the same bullet defect.
And 44?
This will be another photograph of another bullet defect in the room.
Once again, in the ceiling?
Yes.
And is 45 a close-up of that?
Yes.
Moving now to Exhibit 46. Trying to. Can you tell us what we're looking at?
Do you see what the poster says? You are braver and stronger. Wow. Troy Boy says, would vest stop these rounds? It depends on the vest. We actually had a so this was one of the things that was a major point of contention with last week's testimony. The standard vest is going to be a level 3 vest, and a level 3 vest is not going to stop a 223 round, but they do make plates that will stop it. I have both the vest and the plates that are right there, but they're out of reach because I'm tethered. So I don't want to untether right now. I will get them if I get the hat. So if I get the hat, I guess I'll wear plates and the hat just because.
In State's Exhibit 46.
Yes, this is going to be a view of the opposite wall from the windows.
And are there any of your trajectory rods in that?
Yes.
Would you point that out to the jury?
Yes, there's a pink one right here. That's the only one that I see right now in this photograph.
And do you see any other defects in that photograph?
Yes.
Could you point those out and describe them?
Yes, these defects are going to be in the same wall. One is down here. They're all marked with the adhesive sticky markers that I told you all about earlier. Going to be one here, two here. This is the third, fourth, fit.
And State's Exhibit 47.
47 is going to be one of the bullet defects. Actually, there's several of the bullet defects in this photograph. This one is kind of centered most. This YBD2, I believe, is the number on there. I'm sorry, YBD30, but it's showing it's one of our flight path rods. There's another one down here with a flight path rod. Up here where the ceiling tiles meet the wall, there's another flight path rod going in there.
And the directionality
And
of
that
the
is
flight
the
path
goal.
rods are coming from what direction?
Coming from the windows, going into this wall on the opposite side of the room.
So are all of these defects?
All right, we'll let this roll. And I'm going to go get the hat while it rolls because this is pretty much the end of today. But we'll let this guy go and I will get the hat. I'll be right back.
Just with bullets coming through the window?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 48.
This is just going to be another view of the same wall. You can see flight path rods. It's just showing those same bullet defects, just from a different angle.
And is this part of the wall directly across from the window, or is it where these defects are, or is it at a wide angle?
It's going to be directly across from the window. So I guess for an example, in this room here, if these are the windows that we're talking about, it would be the exact opposite wall on the exact opposite side of the room.
As opposed to at an angle over to this side of the room?
Correct.
And Exhibit 49.
Again, it's going to be a picture of the same bullet defects on that wall, and you can see our markers showing the bullet defects.
And I guess I'm looking at the, okay. Moving next to Exhibit 153.
Okay, this is going to be one of the bullet defects. This is the one that we saw earlier where the ceiling tiles actually meet the wall. And there was a bullet defect that went in right there.
Right where the wall and the ceiling
Yes.
connect. And Exhibit 154.
All right, jumping ahead a little bit further.
Of the photographs.
So go through a window, through sheetrock, both sides of the sheetrock wall, and then penetrate another sheetrock wall?
Yes.
So would that be dangerous to a human being?
Yes.
Even after it goes through a window?
Yes.
And when a bullet hits a window, what happens to the window?
A multitude of things. It depends on several factors, including what type of glass it is. But I mean, generally speaking, I mean, there's a lot of things that it can happen to the bullet.
And to the glass?
The glass usually shatters, again, depending on what type of glass it is.
And is it at a dangerous speed when glass shatters from a bullet strike?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 161.
This is
All right, skipping ahead a little further, just to the end here.
Don't let anybody discuss it with you. Don't discuss the case. Don't let anybody discuss it with you.
So the prosecution is like, we have another like 5 hours of this. And I was like, oh God, are you kidding me? They've got another 5 hours of this. So yeah. Anyway, this is the hat. I quite like this hat. It's a great hat. Now I will tell you a little hat story to go with the hat because, you know, so I buy this hat and, you know, the hat was not cheap. The hat, like, it's a good hat. It's a real hat. Like, it's, you know, whatever. It was not cheap. And so because the hat was not cheap, one of the things I did not want was for this hat to get destroyed in luggage, right? Because it would be really easy for this hat to get like crushed. So I very much didn't want the hat to get smushed because it cost a whole pile, and I quite like this hat. I have worn this hat, by the way, to go do yard work. Now, entertainingly, the yard work that I was doing was I was cutting back some bushes. And let me tell you what I was cutting back the bushes with. with this because it actually works really, really good for cutting bushes back. So I was sitting there, chopping like bush with a sword and a cowboy hat. And a neighbor might have driven by. And seen me sitting there like, chopping things up in my cowboy hat with my sword. And their opinion of that might have been very clear from their expression. It was like slowing right down and having this look of like, what the actual fuck is this guy doing? And I'm just like, hi, neighbor. Slice, slice, slice. And then I went inside and told my wife, hey, if the cops show up, she's like, what'd you do? I was like, I was just trimming the hedges back there. She's like, uh-huh. And I'm like, and I was doing it in my cowboy hat. And she's like, and it's like, and I was doing it with the sword. She's like, of course you were. Okay, well, we'll see if the cops show. And the cops never showed up. So that is a good thing. Eddie Martinez, realtor, with the, yeah, I was keeping the property values low that day. So yeah, oh yes, I was mentioning that like I didn't want the hat to get crushed. And like the place where I bought the hat was like, you should not, like, if you're flying with this, don't check it into bags. You need to wear this. And I was like, okay. Somebody says for a moment, I thought you were drinking Coke. I was drinking Coke, so. But, what do you call it? So I had to wear this on the flight from Texas back to Edmonton with a stopover in Denver, Colorado. And the stopover was one of those stopovers where you've got lots of time right up until your flight is delayed, and then you have to run. And so I was running through the airport with my luggage in tow and my cowboy hat. And I get to the what do you call it, the security desk, and the guy's like, cowboy hat, and I'm like, yep. And he's like, you can go on through. And I was like, seriously? So yeah, cowboy hat. I don't have good cowboy boots yet. I plan to get some good cowboy boots. That'll be a future purchase. And somebody was asking, do I have chaps? No, I do not have chaps. So, yeah. I don't have much cause for chaps because I got no horse either. Lucy Snakes Will Hiss, thank you for the becoming a member. I've got a shirt that you might be interested in. Horse Welfare 5744. I had 3 55-minute ads in one of the replay videos. Okay, I will try to. I don't have any control over how long they are, but yeah. Thanks for not showing B cam. I mean, we don't really have much other cam, but yeah. Get the boots custom made, best kind. Yeah, expensive. Expensive. So, The official cat asked for Zora's Pizza Bones fund. Don't worry, Potter. My cats and dog are fond of yours too. So Zora got a piece of pizza crust, and Zora was like, "Where is the rest of them?" And Zora. So I had the pizza in here. I ate most of the pizza, and I had the plate there with the pizza crusts. And Zora was basically being like a velociraptor, where you can hear her like, you can hear her at the door, like pressing on the door and reaching up to fiddle with the doorknob. And you could hear it. And it was because she wanted to come in and get more pizza crusts. And I was like, you cannot have pizza crust. I want annoying Wee or Teen Ian stories. Ooh, we might have to do that. I also see, I'm going to make a cake because I can. Lemon or carrot? Lemon. Lemon cake, way better. So I feel blessed we don't have to learn this here, but I'll also be a total mess, helping nothing at all if it happens. Fair, Vez. Loyal to Runkle since Depthy Heard, 40 months. It's been an adventure. Howdy, y'all. Actually have a bit of time today. Well, that is good to see you, Cookie Mon Steve. Do we get proof of pizza bone delivery? I don't have a video of it. Harbinger of imminent death. How often are you in front of the same judges? If a judge decides he hates your guts, how screwed are you in the long term? Very. You appear in front of the same judges over and over and over again. And, you know, if you've got a judge who, like, do not burn your reputation with a judge. Like, do not. Troy, I don't have the, what is it? I don't have the plates handy. They're over there, but they're half open. So I can bring the plates out for next time. But yeah, $5 for you to say this fucker to the judge when the prosecutor in court does something Weasley. Nope. Nope. I would get hammered. In Maduro, there is a more likely decision the court might reach regarding sovereign immunity, or is that not predictable? How is the court supposed to reach a decision on that? I think, for instance, Maduro is charged with a bunch of things, and some of the charges are like possession of machine guns. And I'm like, how do you charge the head of a foreign government with possession of machine guns? I don't see it, but I think that charge is going to get tossed out. But yeah. Wasn't the Attorney General the third, or AG Gonzales, the third law enforcement officer to enter the school? I'm not sure, but that doesn't surprise me. Tough Cookie, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Much appreciated. Vomit Fountain says, supporting the pro bono goal and your ongoing recaps of this case. Thank you. Nursedale, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Much appreciated. Noodles Mom, good for you, Runkle. I hope this gets back to this witness. I love that you use your platform for the right reasons. The teachers in this case are absolute heroes and just absolutely fantastic. So I think they are to be commended in every way possible. So let's see here. It breaks my heart that she feels the need to say sorry. No need ever. She's a hero. Absolutely. For the no goal. Thank you, Joy W. Behind real time, but love having so much Runkle this week. Boo to prosecutors acting Weasley. Even a half weasel undermines faith in the justice system. Absolutely. By the way, something almost dropped in my lap that would have had me busy for the entire next week. And thankfully, that's not going to be the case. But, and it's not that I wanted to stream, but, you know, it's, I was just glad that it's not going to get in the way. But somebody asked also, what is the hat made of? This is a Stetson. It is made of 100% fur. This is a felt hat. So, yeah, it's... Lorley Annie, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Much appreciated. Adam Downs 3688 finally caught a live stream. YouTube unsub me. Happy New Year. YouTube is on an unsubscribing rush right now. And so YouTube has YouTube, like my subscriber numbers are going down because YouTube is like, I gotta purge a bunch of people. So I was briefly at 330,000 subscribers, and now I'm back at 329, and I'm like, come on, YouTube, let me have the Bing. Let me have the Bing. So yeah, Runkle stopping just short of Brass going to space. Yes. That trial, we all have kind of PTSD from that trial. And Belle Feinstein, Runkle wins for me every day. Thank you. Oh, hey, Apple, I almost died because of your product. Well, I mean, the reason why she couldn't get through, I'm sure, is because everybody was calling 911 at once. I don't think it was the Apple Watch that was doing it. So watch, Apple will send her a cease and desist for this. If Apple does that, then yeah. Cleopatra 44 or 444. Runkle, are you streaming tomorrow and babysitting Rob's audience or taking a break? I plan to stream tomorrow. Tomorrow I plan to stream, and there's going to be more of this trial, so we got more recap to do, right? So, yep. Watch, Apple will send her a cease and desist. Oh, I just read that. Hat. Wear the hat. As a Texan, I'm obliged to support the cowboy hat. Fair. Fair. Hat. And tell us which store you got it from so we can all buy our own Runkle hats. I forget which store. I wonder if Kurt remembers. I'll have to ask Kurt if he remembers which store it was. So, yeah. Unruly Julia, wear the hat. We're wearing the hat. Runkle hats for all the Runkleettes. There we go. Emotional support cowboy hat. Fair enough. Thank you. I'm in Texas and I want to see your Texas getup. I don't have a full Texas getup, but I've got this. Patricia, 1958. We want to see the hat. Jennifer Fernandez, 2448. Thank you for covering this trial. Thank you. One more for full dress up. If you guys want to see full dress up, give me 1 second. 1 second. I can get something else that is one of my I guess cherished bits of clothing. Hopefully it's fine because it's been sitting in a closet for a while, but and hopefully it still fits. How much dust is on this? Yeah, still mostly fits. Ooh, those. I don't know how long those have been in there. All right, let's try this. Chat's like, we can hear you, but we can't see you, so we don't know what you're up to. All right, so this, which is covered in dust, I gotta dust it a little bit, but this is my leather jacket, which is a little small on me now, but it still fits. The jacket didn't get smaller. I got embiggened. But yeah, this jacket, guess how long I've had this jacket? Guess how long I've had this coat. Let's see if anybody in chat can get a ballpark guess for how long I've had that. Yeah, people are about right with, like, people are landing at about 30 years, and they're correct. I've had that jacket for about 30 years, and it still looks great. It's still a great coat. I still wear it. It's 30 years old. So, yep. My mom got me that as a, as a gift ages ago, and still in great shape. The lining is a little bit frayed in places. At some point, I'm going to have the lining redone, but the thing is just fine. You're streaming Friday. Does that mean Rob isn't ready to resume Friday Night Frenzy? Rob will be back sometime in February. I thought he'd only be busy until the new year, but maybe I misunderstood. I think he's coming back in February. So, Yeah. Let's see. Bonus hat chat. Here comes the timestamp. There we go. I helped clear an acre of tall blackberry bushes off a friend's property using a reproduction 1860 light cavalry saber. Didn't have to bend once. And I see the armor image there. So I believe it 100%. And that is awesome. Look up Sydney Apple Watch Rescue. Did its job then. Interesting. I think YouTube unsubbed me. I pay premium. Nice hat. Thank you. And I want annoying Wii or teen Ian stories. Oh man. I was not always an easy kid for my parents. I was not always an easy kid for teachers. I'm just trying to think on all of that. But yeah. I have a leather jacket that needs the lining repaired. I'll never repair the leather. The jacket has scars from saving me from an IED boom in Israel. Wow. Okay, that is impressive. Glad you're still around, because yeah. But yeah. Nice. I still miss not getting my dad's leather jacket. Bomber. Yeah. Yeah. I like leather stuff. Ooh, son of a bard saying, thank you for noticing, Ian. I make my own armor. That is cool. I've wanted to learn to do that, but when's the time? One of the things I really like about leather as a thing is that it lasts forever. Like real leather lasts forever and a day. So I made like my first ever wallet that I made it and it was not good. And I had the thought of like, hey, I'm going to use this wallet until it wears out. And that was because I was used to wallets that only last for, they only last like, 6 months to a year, right? Because that's kind of how wallets often are. And that's because I was used to buying like the plastic leather wallets. And instead, it just lasted like 5 years without me needing to replace it. And then finally I went ahead and made a new wallet, and I'm going to end up making another wallet later. One of the things I'm thinking I might be doing, so this wallet is showing somewhere. It's got somewhere on it, but this wallet will be good for another 10 years. So one of the things I'm thinking of doing is I want to make another, another wallet. I will probably make 2 wallets. And what I want to try doing is making like a tooled leather wallet that has like an image on it. And so I'm looking at making 2 of those. And what I'm thinking is that I'll use one of the tooled wallets, as my sort of daily wallet. And then what I'm thinking is that I will sell the other tooled leather wallet as a extra life thing. And I may auction this wallet, which is handmade, Runkle carried for multiple years now, still in great shape. And, just if somebody wants a wallet with some wear, but where you can say, this is definitely a Runkle thing because I've had it for a bit. So, yeah, just thoughts on that. And, because it's a new year. I've got a new Extra Life started for the people who remember the Extra Life. If you donated and didn't get your calendar, like shoot me an email. I will try to get you a calendar, but I'll send you the link to the calendar. I'm going to do another calendar this year. There will be another Runkleisms calendar, but I'm also working on another project for donors. And that other project is going to be I'm going to make a cookbook. And so there's going to be a cookbook, and it's going to be a Runkle style cookbook. So it's not going to be super accurate. But the goal for this year is I want to get to, I want to get the Extra Life total up to $500,000 US. So right now we have got $166 Canadian raised this year. And the goal in Canadian dollars is 153,636. If we get that amount, if we hit the goal, that's the amount necessary to take us up to $500,000, $500,000 US raised lifetime, which is huge, right? $500,000 is insane, but we're going to try for it. And right now we are like the total lifetime is $389,261.55 US. And so the goal is we're going to try to hit that goal. So I'm going to set up the calendar. I will probably set the calendar at like, if you donate over $25, I will send you the calendar. I'm gonna it's gonna be weird stuff, and it's gonna be it's gonna be what do you call it? How do I put this? It's gonna have like imprecise measurements, like a handful of whatever and so forth. But it's going to be fun. So I don't know if it'll be the best calendar on the planet, but it'll be a fun calendar, and or a fun cookbook, sorry, of stuff that I stuff that I like, and stuff that I eat. So yeah. All right. Unless there's any other questions, I'll just see if there's any more super chats that snuck in at the last minute. We got this one. I will think of a good story to tell you guys and tell you on another one. Yeah, cookbooks. So it'll be kind of it'll be fun, right? If you've seen me posting recipes before, you will I have a particular style of recipes. So yeah. All right. Okay. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, and have a great evening. So Runkle is your outro and actual song from somewhere. I got it off of Invado Elements. So yeah. All right. Good night, all.